So is that a joint? Or is it a cigar? Or is it a cigar?
Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Good morning and welcome back to J is for Justice. My name is Jay and I am your host. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to dive into a horrific case. The case of Rebecca Park, and that's from my home state in Michigan. And I am absolutely appalled that this comes from my home state. These people are horrible. They're evil. They're all of the above, all of the words you could think to describe. So as we prepare for that, let's welcome everybody in, shall we? Good morning to my lovely moderators. Hello, Hidden True Slime, Kelly Mack, Marissa, Evelyn, Pickwick. I'm going to call you Pickwick. St. Elmo's Fire, Sweet Trina, Jada. Thank you guys. And the 5 new clickers are Sweet Trina, Darlene, Kenzie, Bama, and Aquarius. Melissa Hex is in the house. Good morning, Melissa. Good to see you guys this morning. So hello, Angie B. Look at this shit.
Or is it a cigar?
43 months. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Angie B.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
Exactly, jammers. It's a disgrace. It's disgusting. But I'm here for justice for Rebecca and her baby because it is awful. Awful. Hello, Maria. Hello, Mississippi and Callie. Good to see you. Look at, she got her ballet flats on this morning. You haven't heard of this case. Okay, well, I married just to get that name. Hi, Kane. We're going to go through it from beginning to end. We're going to review the PCA. The suspects were in court yesterday. So we've got a lot to go over. So I think we should just jump right into it. Hey, Jeep Babe. Good to see you. Hey, Snaz. Hey, Snaz. Snaz, I'm not sure if your Amazon package came yesterday. Did you get the pillow and the cute doggy toys? Was that you? I'm waiting for Snaz. Because I don't know because of real names on the gifts, but I'm so appreciative. Hey, NH girl. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody. Oh, this is a reminder to put the chat on live chat because right now I'm on top chat. And the blanket, my sweatshirt blanket. Thank you, Snaz. Oh my God, Snazzy. I got like the best packages yesterday. I got pictures too. The dogs each got a toy. They love them. And I got a sweatshirt blanket. It is so cozy. And the cutest flower pillow that I had. No Lauren today. We're doing true crime today, Moo Top. Moo Top, Moo Top. We are on my main channel doing true crime. Good morning, Penny. Hybrid Pisces. This case is wild. Yeah, it's terrible. Prepare for some horrible details. It really is. I think it's one of the worst I've ever heard. Now, I will preface this by saying I've covered 2 other cases in my time here, and they involved stealing babies. The first one was, well, Heidi Broussard, but she had already had the baby. She wasn't pregnant anymore. But the other one, there were 2 that the baby was actually cut out of the womb. The first one was Taylor Parker. You guys remember the Taylor Parker case? Taylor Parker met a girl on Facebook, tricked her into like needing baby stuff and all that, and then went to her house, murdered her, and, took the baby. And then what was the other one where the mother was tricked? There was another one too. Oh, Crash, you're in Michigan. Crash said this is only 90 minutes north of me. I'm from Michigan too, Crash. So I'm originally from Metro Detroit area. Yeah, you guys remember Taylor Parker. That was horrible. So she killed Reagan Hancock. And the most horrific thing of it was that Reagan's mom is the one that found her. That was in Texarkana, Texas. Texarkana, Texas. I have a playlist on that. That was really bad. But this one is different. Hey, Living Life. This one is different. This is more like people are thinking they wanted to sell this baby, so it's not like it doesn't happen. But we've got a lot to go over. So if you guys could hit the like button. I know my channel is not in the algorithm right now because I haven't been on here much. So if you could hit the like button, it is a free way to support and get this out in the algorithm. Hello, Emmy Joe. Good morning, love. Thanks for coming in today. Okay, so what we're going to start with, hey, Jada and Buck Cherry. A very similar situation happened by you in Kentucky. I think it happens more than we know, actually. It's really wild. But I'm going to start out by, I want to play this clip from Nancy Grace, because this gives a little bit of background. How Rebecca ended up where she was, right? She was adopted. We're going to hear a little bit about that. This is from Nancy Grace yesterday. So let's take a listen to how Rebecca ended up adopted and things like that. Hello, stay low.
Was a mask, or if it was really somebody, and it was Rebecca.
November 25th. On a trail directly behind the home of biomom Bartholomew, a volunteer finds the body of Rebecca. Investigators not releasing the condition of the body or if a newborn has been found. Rebecca was expected to give birth days before her body was located.
That from Up North Live. Let's start at the beginning. Tonight, the search is on for Rebecca's baby boy, Richie. We now know of her stomach. How did this whole thing start? Who is Rebecca?
Hey, Jen.
Listen.
Child Protective Services called to save Rebecca from her biological mother, Courtney Bartholomew, placed with foster mother Stephanie Park. When parental rights are terminated, Stephanie adopts Rebecca. Rebecca flourishes in the Park home and enjoys grandparents and extended family. Stephanie Park knows Rebecca's mother is dangerous and tries to protect Rebecca from reconnecting with her. Like many adopted children, Rebecca is curious about her biological mother, and the two reconnect.
Okay, so that gives you a little bit of background. So Rebecca was born to Courtney. Courtney lost custody, and Miss Park, let me hear that again. It's a little confusing, so.
Is in the Park home and enjoys grandparents and extended family. Stephanie Park knows Rebecca's mother is dangerous and tries.
Okay, so Stephanie Park is the adoptive mother. So she was living with Courtney Bartholomew, her mother, and was taken by Child Protective Services and was raised by Stephanie Park. And Stephanie Park allegedly knew how dangerous Courtney was and really didn't want her, to have contact with her. But like any adoptive child, people get curious. They want to know. And I think that's what happened. So we're going to go through now a video of mine that I put together, giving you details of what went down. And then we're going to get into the probable cause affidavit and more.
And let's all come together and bring Rebecca home.
We're talking about a young mother, 22-year-old Rebecca Park. She went missing in early November. She was 38 weeks pregnant, actually starting the process of labor when she was last seen by her mother in the Cadillac area, specifically Boone Township.
On Monday, November 3rd, 2025, Rebecca Park, a 22-year-old woman who was about 39 weeks pregnant, was reported missing out of Boone Township, Michigan. It would be reported later that she was last seen getting into a dark-colored vehicle.
Investigators later found Rebecca's cell phone discarded along a nearby two-track, a discovery that's only added to her family's fear.
Just keep telling myself every...
Okay, now this is Rebecca's fiance. This used to be her mother's boyfriend, from what I understand. But he's been Rebecca's boyfriend / fiance for some time. Hello, Miss Pines. Good morning, baby.
Every minute that she's going to be found, her and the little man are going to be safe, okay. Having problems sleeping because for the last 2 years, every night, she's the one I was laying in bed next to.
Fowler says he knew something was wrong right away.
I tried to call her a few times because I didn't get no messages, call from her, nothing. And it's just not like her because we're together 99% of the time. When we're not, you can ask anybody. We're always on our phones messaging each other, letting us know, each other know what's going on.
Her friends say there's no way that she would leave on her own. And if she did go missing for some apparent reason, Rebecca had a plan.
I know that Rebecca don't go nowhere by herself. I know that me and Rebecca and Paige have had a thing in mind for at least 6 years now, that if something was to go wrong, we have Rebecca's okay to call the cops and have them come look for her.
On Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, the Wexford County Sheriff's Office released a statement urging Rebecca to contact them. The statement read, "Rebecca, the Sheriff's Office and people close to you are concerned about your well-being. Based on statements made by people close to you, it is possible that you are scared or hiding for reasons known only by you. We assure you that you aren't in any trouble. We have no reason to deprive you of any freedom that you already have. Furthermore, you are an adult. We are only obligated to report that we have contacted you and possibly your baby and offer aid to you with whatever needs you may have. We are under no obligation to notify anyone of your whereabouts. If you see this message, please reach out to our office directly or any police, fire, or emergency medical service in the area you may be and let them know who you are and why you need their help. Signed, the Wexford County Sheriff's Office.
Deputies say they believe Park received about $2,000 cash from family inheritance the day she vanished, money that can make it easier for her to avoid electronic tracking. Her friends, though, say she wasn't planning to leave.
Not as far as I know on housing, but I do know that her and Richie were talking about getting married, and they were trying to figure out how to get that goal achieved along with buying their own house.
Monday.
She helped me, and it ended up sending her into labor and going to Cadillac Hospital. We called to inform everybody, and her last phone call was her mom, Courtney, and she said, don't let her get into a vehicle. I'm on my way. She got into a van with Kimmy and Courtney and left. I haven't heard from her since.
We're here, and let's all come together and bring Rebecca home. You know, she deserves that. Her baby boy deserves that, and all of her friends deserve that.
The Cadillac community coming together all to help find a missing pregnant woman from Wexford County. 22-year-old Rebecca Park has been missing for nearly 2 weeks now. Dozens of volunteers are preparing the search in the area that she was last seen. And that search party is set to begin Friday morning tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Meyer parking lot in Cadillac. Organizers say after a short meeting, volunteers will drive together to Boone Township near where Rebecca was last spotted, getting into a dark-colored vehicle. Everyone is asked to dress for the weather and bring any equipment that could help, including drones, horses, or off-road vehicles.
I have a lot of people who are also concerned citizens who want to help. She was loved by so many people, and they just want to help. They want to help find her. People who didn't know her, people who did know her, people are just very concerned at this point and want to help.
Lewis says she'll stay in close contact with law enforcement throughout the search and will update the Bring Rebecca Park Home Facebook page with any new information.
This is awesome. We have a great community, and it's great to see a community to come together when somebody is in trouble and needs help. So I am a mother, I'm a grandmother, and you know, when somebody needs help, I just have a big heart.
Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. A body is found at the Manistee National Forest. It would later be confirmed to be Rebecca Park.
We came out, we went down, we drove down as far as we thought. We got out, we looked around. Then this white truck came up to us again. An older gentleman and a 20-year-old, some young boy came up and said that they needed help and wanted to show me a video. And we just had them take us to whatever the video that they wanted to show us. And the son, or the young boy, or the 20-year-old did not want the dad to go up.
Hey, PJ.
And asked if I could go up and see if it was a mask or if it was really somebody, and it was Rebecca.
And you knew at that moment that it was Rebecca?
Yes.
Investigators telling us they can't confirm if it is in fact Park until an autopsy is performed, nor can they comment on the status of Rebecca's baby.
Yeah, we want to get
But
right.
for now, Kimberly Park is charged with tampering with evidence, lying to police, and filing a false report. Rebecca's fiance, Richard Lee Fowler, faces 2 meth delivery charges and a habitual offender enhancement that could bring a life sentence. The pair's arrest came after the discovery of Rebecca's body last night.
Yeah, I would appreciate all the public to just, if you see me.
So this is the adopted mom. This is Stephanie. This is not the bio mom. The bio mom is Courtney Park. Or Courtney, not Courtney Park, sorry. Courtney Bartholomew. Stephanie Park is the adopted mother.
Are the kids just nod, but do not approach us.
Yeah.
I am not capable of doing that. I cannot hold it together for the kids if Yeah.
And investigators say the baby she was days away from delivering was not with her when she was found in the Manistee National Forest. 2 new arrests: Rebecca's biological mother, Courtney Bartholomew, and her stepfather, Brad Bartholomew. But at their scheduled arraignments Monday afternoon, a request for a delay.
We will go ahead and, like Ms. Bartholomew's, we will go ahead and set it for arraignment tomorrow. The court, in the meantime, will hold Mr. Bartholomew without bond. I do find that he is both a threat and a flight risk based on what I've read in search warrants. As such, we'll reconvene tomorrow and see where we're at.
Prosecutors say the pause is necessary as investigators continue reviewing documents and executing search warrants.
If there was ever a case where there are circumstances that justify a delay of any type, it's this case. This is as serious as it gets. It's as horrible as it gets. And to preserve the integrity of the case.
Rebecca's biological mother, Courtney, and stepdad, Brad Bartholomew, were in court, and prosecutors laid out what they believe happened to cause the death of Rebecca and her baby.
They brought Rebecca Park to their home. They forced her into a vehicle and took her into the woods where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out of her, ultimately causing her death and the death of the baby. This is as heinous and as awful a case as it could be. And I don't believe there are any circumstances in which Mr. Bartholomew should be granted any bond.
Judge did agree with the prosecutor and is keeping both behind bars with no bond. The details of this case are horrific, but justice is important. We will continue following the details of this case on J is for Justice. Please subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell for the latest updates. Everybody stay safe and take care. I know it's disgusting, you guys. It really is. Hey, postcard. Whew. Okay. So, TS, hey. So the victim's fiance, along with her bio sister, bio mom, and stepdad all involved. So awful. So what I'm understanding, Pines, is that the bio mom, Courtney, and stepdad, Bradley, are the ones involved. She was adopted by Stephanie Park, the lady we just saw in the video. That was her adopted mom. So we talked about it a little bit in the beginning that Child Protective Services came into her life. She was put into the home of Stephanie Park and eventually adopted, from what I understand. We're going to go back over here to Nancy Grace for a second. And I think we're going to listen right here. Hold on.
Years old. And there's her baby Richie. We don't know where he is.
Okay, so this is about the baby, you guys. This is the actual sonogram of baby Richie. He was already named. Hey, Hossein. She was not in labor. She was set to give birth, very, very soon, like any day. She actually went to the hospital and was in premature labor. But we're going to hear all the details because I'm going to read you guys the probable cause affidavit. It's not an easy read. The details are all in there, and it's not pretty at all. These people are evil monsters. But this is little baby Richie. And they don't know where baby Richie is. Now, the probable cause says where they think baby Richie is. But we're going to watch this. This is actually, the sonogram was put out by one of Rebecca's friends. So let's take a listen to this part.
And there's her baby Richie. We don't know where he is tonight. Okay, I want you to hear what one of the witnesses says that has seen the body, and brace yourself.
I'm gonna walk up to him, and yes, the animals have ate at her cheek, but her face is all there. The animals,
it's so cold.
And her stomach.
Okay, this is a trigger warning. I forgot about this. So this is the people that found her. Trigger frickin' warning. This is the people that found her.
Body, and brace yourself.
I'm gonna walk up to him, and yes, the animals have ate at her cheek, but her face is all there. The animals,
it's so cold.
And her stomach, and their stomach studded.
So the
Her
baby's
stomach-
not there.
I don't think so. I got this close. I mean, it's her stuff's coming. It's yeah.
Oh, okay.
From Jax S on TikTok. Dan Murphy.
Horrible. Can you imagine? Those people will never recover from that either. Oof. Body says, oh yeah, it all also played out on TikTok Live. Bio Mom made the rounds. I heard she was doing interviews on TikTok. I just don't watch TikTok, so I never saw them. Body, what was she saying? Was she acting concerned? Was she pretending to be concerned? It's terrifying. She had the audacity to speak out. Ugh, I know, it's gross. It's gross. So she was like proclaiming her innocence and pretending to be concerned about her bio daughter. Oh my God. She kept telling different stories. She was doing a lot of spin. The lady also posted on YouTube. I remember, Snazzy, you bringing this case up. Richard had all the ladies in that community. Ugh. Good morning, Gypsy. That's disgusting. Well, they were in court yesterday, but before we get to that, we're going to dive into these documents. Let me get the documents pulled up, guys. It's not going to be easy to hear, that's for damn sure, but I plan on following this case as it goes through the court system. I know Cadillac is a very pretty area up north Michigan. Hey, Varia. Drama Talk on YouTube has all the lives. Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks, Body. We might have to dive into that later. Well, Richard was also selling drugs, too, from what it sounds like, right? He was a meth dealer. Steph's case files. Kim, the sister's on there also. Oh, wow. How did that all happen? How do these people jump on panels like that when they're... It is a beautiful snowmobiling area. How you doing, Travis? Flo just gifted 20 cooter ships, you guys. Callie, Body Moving, Chatty Jen, Kitty, Isla, Perry, PJ, Niners Girl, Fancy Nancy, Tattoos, Fascinated, Kathleen, Miriam, Galen, Penny was already here. Sean's Princess, DP, holy shit, Barbara, Sylvia, Snippins, welcome, N. Thank you so much, Flo. Thank you so much. 20.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
Hey, Dub Deuce. Merry Christmas. Oh, yeah, let's play our Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
So is that a joint? Or is it a cigar?
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, Lily. Thank you for subbing up today.
So is that a joint? Or is it a cigar?
That's amazing. You don't see that too often. Thank you so much, Flo. That's so generous. TS, I follow you regarding HTC. This poor girl and her family are really victims, unlike LM, in my opinion. Absolutely. And here we have, Lauren Matthias out here wasting resources of the police, which is really freaking stupid. Okay, so maybe Body can help me understand this, because this is one thing I'm confused on. Okay.
So is that a joint?
Kimberly Sue Park. That's the sister. Is she also charged with harming? We're going to have to read this because she says she was in a relationship with Richard. Okay. That's your favorite Christmas movie? Mine too. That and Home Alone.
Or is it a cigar?
Thank you for your support.
So is that a joint?
Kim is her sister. Okay. So we're going to read Kim's first. It's okay, Lily Ray. I've spent a lot of time on the other one.
Or is it a cigar?
So this is going to be Kimberly Sue Park, who was born in 04. Wow. She's only 21.
Or is it a cigar?
21 years old. So we're just going to read like the bits of it. Okay. So on Tuesday, November 4th at 12:44, Kimberly Sue Park. Oh, so she reported her 22-year-old sister, Rebecca, missing. Okay. So Kimberly called it in. She lied to cops. Well, that's really nice. What a sister. So, she's accused of lying to police, obstructing an investigation, and making a false report of a felony. She reported that Rebecca K. Park had not been seen since the prior evening. Kimberly identified that Rebecca was last known to be with Courtney Bartholomew, which is her bio mother, at 30 South 21.5 Road, which is in Boone Township of Wexford County. Courtney is the biological mother to Rebecca and Kimberly. So Rebecca and Kimberly were adopted out together, I'm assuming. At the time of the report, Rebecca was 38 weeks pregnant and living with her boyfriend, Richard Lee Fowler. Kimberly Park provided the sheriff's office with a cellular phone that was identified as the one Rebecca had been using at the time of her disappearance. So that's red flag number one, right? Her phone left behind. Kimberly Park was communicating information to Lieutenant Chris Peace Corps throughout the investigation. On Saturday, November 22nd, Kimberly Park made statements on social media, a live broadcast, that she was aware of information that Courtney and her husband Brad had something to do with the disappearance. So apparently when this sister was live, like you guys said, she was saying that it was the bio mom and stepdad. Lieutenant Peace Corps interviewed Kimberly Park on the same date, and she reported that Courtney and Brad had struck Rebecca in the head to cause her to have a seizure. And when they were unable to revive Park from the seizure, Brad contacted a friend who came and picked up Rebecca's body and took it away. Park said that Brad had said something about a swamp. During another interview with Kimberly on November 24th, Kimberly told Sergeant Alicia Baxter that she was and has been in a romantic relationship with Richard Fowler. Oh my God. This is gross. This is really gross. Kimberly Park identified that her relationship with Fowler was complicated by his relationship with her sister, Rebecca. On Tuesday, November 25th, 2025, a body of a deceased woman was found off the Federal Forest Service Road 9784, which is in a straight line, approximately 2.5 miles west of the Bartholomew residence. A tattoo above the left eye of the deceased person was consistent with the tattoo above the eye of Rebecca Park. Park had short force trauma wounds to her neck, and her abdomen had been cut open. Sergeant Jamie Voss and Sergeant Olivia Whetstone met with Kimberly Park at her residence in Herring Township on November 25th. for a non-custodial interview based on the discovery of the body. During this interview, Kimberly Park discussed the relationship details between herself and Richard Fowler. Park made a statement that Fowler had told her Rebecca had been taken care of and not to worry about it. Park went on to say that Fowler told her to lie to Lieutenant Peace Corps and say that Courtney and Brad Bartholomew hit Rebecca over the head, knocked her out, and they drove her and dumped her body. See you later, body. Kimberly Park was arrested for lying to police and obstructing the investigation at approximately 1911 by Sergeant Voss. Park told Sergeant Voss she wanted to talk to Lieutenant Peace Corps. Lieutenant Peace Corps began a recorded interview with Kimberly on Tuesday, November 25th at 2026. Park was provided with a Miranda warning, which she waived prior to the commencement of the interview. Kimberly Park identified that on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, while she was at Richard Fowler's home, he told her he had killed Rebecca Park and that he wanted to protect Kimberly by not sharing all the details with her. Park identified that during a different conversation with Fowler, he had told her something went wrong while trying to cut the baby out of Rebecca. She reported that Fowler told her that Austin Noland had helped him with Rebecca. That's the first time I'm hearing this name, Austin Noland. Park said that Fowler had been encouraging her to mislead the investigation, and it was the reason she was sharing misleading information on social media broadcasts. Park told Lieutenant Peace Corps that Fowler was becoming concerned about the investigation getting close to him, and that on Thursday or Friday, before Saturday, November 22nd, Fowler assisted her with the creation of her accusation that she made to Peace Corps during the interview on that date. There appeared to be additional unsubstantiated knowledge that Park had about Rebecca. This included a statement about Rebecca possibly have being stored in an unknown location. Sergeant Dan Hackman arrested Richard Fowler for open murder of Rebecca Park on the statements made by Kimberly Park. Sergeant Voss and Sergeant Whetstone attempted to conduct an interview with Richard Fowler at the sheriff's office on Wednesday, November 26th, and he refused to cooperate without the assistance of an attorney. Peace Corps interviewed Austin Noland on Wednesday, November 26th. He denied involvement, was able to show cell phone records that did not place him in the Wexford area on November 3rd or 4th. Noland cooperated with a consent search of his cellular device and later a consent search of his black and color Chevrolet Malibu. Noland did confirm he had previously been in romantic relationships with both Rebecca and Kimberly Parks. So this guy, Austin Noland, was screwing the sisters as well. On Wednesday, November 26, 2025, do we even know whose baby it is? For real? Hey, Deuce, Dub Deuce. He got them all pregnant? Ugh. It's disgusting. On Wednesday, November 26th, Lieutenant Peace Corps and Sergeant Hackman began a follow-up interview with Kimberly Park and were more confrontational with her based on the outcome of the interview with Noland. Park requested the assistance of an attorney, at which point the interview was terminated. So that's the sisters. Now this one is Bradley and Courtney. This next one. Yeah, it sounds like they're it sounds like they share a lot. That's what I'm wondering, TS. But I guess this probable cause is going to tell us what the police think happened. Oh, excuse me. So this is going to be, let's see. Can you guys see that all right? Bradley Allen Bartholomew and Courtney Marie Bartholomew. On November 4th, 2025, or wait, first let's go over the charges, sorry. This is to establish probable cause of the crime of homicide, first degree premeditated, felony murder, torture, conspiracy to commit torture, assault of a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, conspiracy to commit assault of a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, unlawful imprisonment, removing a dead body without the consent of the medical examiner. Those are all the charges. Thank you, Angie. No, I don't think it's fair to blame the sisters. I just think that that's just their life. That's how they were raised, right? They share. Ugh. I mean, when you're surrounded by RSOs, you don't have a whole lot of a choice, right? On November 4th, 2025 at 12:44, Wexford County Central Dispatch received a call from Kimberly Sue Park, reporting that her sister Rebecca Kay had not been seen since November 3rd. Wexford County Sheriff's Office opened Incident Report 83-250-2044 as a missing person investigation. At the time of the report, Rebecca was 38 weeks pregnant and living with her boyfriend, Richard Lee Fowler. Deputy Reed spoke with Courtney Marie Bartholomew, who is Rebecca Park's bio mother. Courtney reported that she was with Rebecca the prior night until 8:30, when an unidentified friend picked Rebecca up from Courtney's residence. Courtney had picked Rebecca up from 1531 North 41.5 Road to spend some time together and get ice cream from Culver's. On the way to Culver's, Rebecca told Courtney she needed Tide Pods, so Courtney returned to her address to get some Tide Pods for her. Courtney went into the residence, grabbed the pods, and came outside. When she came outside, Rebecca told her she was going to wait at the residence for a friend to pick her up. They waited a couple of minutes, and a black sedan with tinted windows pulled across the road from the residence. Rebecca proceeded across the road and got into the front passenger seat of the vehicle. Courtney did not know the specific make or model of the sedan or the number of occupants in the car. She could not tell if the driver was male or female. She said that after this, she did not see Rebecca again. Courtney reported to Deputy Reed that she was contacted by Rebecca's fiancé, Richard Fowler, regarding her location later that night. Courtney informed Rich she did not know where Rebecca was and that she had left with a friend. Courtney was contacted by Kimberly the morning of November 4th and was sent a screenshot of the location where Rebecca's phone was pinging. Courtney told Deputy Reed that she proceeded down the road on W26 Road where she found Rebecca's phone lying in the 2-track just off W26 Road. This location is less than 200 yards from 30 South 21.5 Road. Courtney checked the phone and thought Rebecca may have dropped it when she was using the restroom. Courtney reported that she took the phone to Richard Fowler's residence on Tuesday, November 4th, and turned it over to him. So the bio mom is saying that she found the phone and thought that Rebecca was urinating in the road and dropped it. The sheriff issued a press release identifying Rebecca on November 4th, identifying Rebecca as a missing person. She was also entered into the Law Enforcement Information Network as missing. On Wednesday, November 5th, Lieutenant Peace Corps met with Kimberly Park when she arrived at the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. Park had suggested that she might know where Rebecca is when she arrived at the sheriff's office. When I asked her about this, she played me a voice message from Courtney that said that Araya, I don't know how the fuck to say that. Sorry, Araya Clark had called her and said that 2 people in a car pulled up to the Revival Center looking for Narcan and that the pregnant woman, wait, what? There was a voice message from Courtney, the bio mom, that said Ariaya Clark called her and said two people in a car. Oh, okay. So Courtney called and left a voicemail and said that two people in a car had pulled up to the revival center looking for Narcan and said that the pregnant woman that's missing, quote, got what she fucking deserved. Courtney stated it was Serena Rausch that said something to Rusty Clark, Ariaya's father. She also added, quote, I guess it was an older guy that your sister left with. When Kimberly asked if she knows where she's at, she answers that the only older guy that Rebecca talks to is Stephen Billett and calls him a, quote, pervert. Park believes that Billett drives a black sedan, adding, quote, like Courtney said. Stephen Billett was contacted and did not appear to have contact with Rebecca Park. During the interview with Kimberly, she showed Detective Lieutenant Peace Corps a Blue View brand Model 4 cellular telephone, which says Rebecca Park's phone on the home screen. Kimberly reported that she has looked through the phone and observed the last communications. Reporting a missed video call from Clunan14 at Gmail on Friday, October 3rd at 8:43. The last text was on Sunday. The last phone call was to Courtney Bartholomew on Sunday, November 2nd at 21:14. Now remember, she said she last saw her at like 8:30 at night. So 21:14 would be what? 8:11? Or I mean 8:14? Kimberly identified that Rebecca uses her phone regularly and daily because she did not see any communications on Monday, November 3rd. She suspects that records of phone activity on the 3rd have been deleted. Kimberly reported that Rebecca is known to regularly delete communication records from her cell phone. How convenient, huh? Kimberly then played another voice message on her phone from Courtney, who can be heard explaining, okay, when Randy passed away, I was told that your sister had something to do with it. That would give Randy's family a murder revenge thing because she was involved when it came to Randy. On the message, Courtney suggested, quote, so Stephen Billett is connected to Randy's family, so I would definitely be looking at them. When I asked Kimberly if she trusted Courtney, she responded, quote, not really. 9:14. Thank you, guys. On Thursday, November 6th, at 1:55 p.m., Lieutenant Peace Corps obtained a search warrant for the Blue View 4 cellular telephone that had been entered in property. The cellular device was submitted to the Michigan State Computer Crimes Unit. On Saturday, November 8th, members of the All-County Search and Rescue and Christian Aid Ministries Search and Rescue, with 36 personnel comprised of 5 teams, searched the area where Rebecca was last seen and the area where her cell phone was recovered from. No additional evidence was identified. During this time, numerous tips and leads were coming in and were being actively investigated. However, no one located Rebecca. Due to reported activity on Rebecca's social media platforms, pen register search warrants were obtained and searched on her known social media accounts. However, no outgoing use was ever identified. On November 15th, Candace Freeman reported to Deputy Jacob Caponen that her sister, Courtney Bartholomew, had texted her on October 28th that she had given birth to a son and was asking Candace for items for the baby. Oh my God, what? So the bio mom was contacting her own sister on October 28th, saying that she had given birth at 28 weeks and the baby was in the NICU in Grand Rapids. She also told her sister that she had named the baby Ashton Lee Bartholomew. Courtney told Candace he's supposed to come home this coming week. As long as he's doing good, he still will. On Monday, November 3rd at 2:52 p.m., Candace asked Courtney if she was able to bring the baby home. And Courtney told her, quote, no, he did a backslide, but still hoping this week. On November 3rd at 23:17, Courtney sent Candace a text that reads, quote, my son passed away. On Tuesday, November 4th, Candace asked if it was because he wasn't strong enough or if he had gotten sick. Courtney answered, quote, I don't know what happened. I just know he wasn't getting air. And added, quote, all I know is I watched my child die right in front of me. Wow. Candace asked if she was there when it happened, and Courtney answered, yes, I was. On Tuesday, November 4th at 1911, Courtney begins to discuss with Candace that Rebecca is missing. Oh my God, this is worse than I thought. On Tuesday, November 11th, preservation requests for the tower dump area search for the tower and the location. Then it gives the longitude and latitude between the hours of 1900 and 2200 on November 3rd were submitted to T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. Lieutenant Peace Corps had contacted Courtney Bartholomew about another interview. Bartholomew was reluctant to come in, suggesting that Deputy Reed's interview with her had been thorough. But eventually, she agreed. On Tuesday, November 11th, Lieutenant Peace Corps conducted a recorded interview with Courtney Bartholomew. Initially, some background on Courtney and her biological children, raised by the Park family, is established. Courtney then reports how Rebecca and Richard Fowler were initially dating, and they broke up. A relationship between herself and Rich then commences. Okay. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm getting the feeling of the bio mom being jealous of Courtney. Are you guys getting that feeling as well? I actually want to put her picture up here. I'm getting the feeling that she was jealous of her mother, or her mother was jealous of her. Why else would she? Because this girl was dating this Richard Fowler first. And then they broke up, and then mom jumped in the sack with him. That's disgusting. Exactly, Dub. That's what I'm saying. So then, she's pregnant, and then Courtney tells her sister, oh, hey, I'm having a baby. That baby's going to be my baby. My God. I mean, did she really think that she was going to get away with stealing her daughter's baby? Did she really think that she could get away with that? My God, me either. Wendy's and Captain D's, I can't imagine it either. Being so jealous that you sleep with your daughter's man, but then to do this? Thank you for your super chat, Pons. What you got here? Just to clarify, someone said, quote, the sisters get around. And I did not think that was appropriate to say. Jay is always sensitive to victims. Yeah, I don't like that. The sisters get around. I think that they're a problem. What about Richard Fowler, who's sleeping with everybody and their sister? You know what I mean? But he doesn't get around? Come on. Thank you, Pines. Wasn't Richard Fowler a meth dealer as well? Hey, Aries Fire. No protection. Yeah, it's just irresponsible around. You got drug use and RSOs and all kinds of bad stuff. There's really not anything good coming out of this environment. It's an environment that most of us can't imagine living in, you know. Jealous and methed out, yeah. There's a lot of drugs in northern Michigan like that. They're very rural areas. Very rural. It's beautiful, but it's very rural. Hey, Crow, I'm glad you found us. We were hiding over here. Definitely drugs involved. I'm sure there's some kind of mental illness, Jana, but there's definitely meth involved. Hey, Jay, I gotta go. I'm driving down to Fresno. We'll be listening during the 3-hour drive. Oh, have a nice drive. I bet you that's a pretty drive. Be safe. Richard got his niece pregnant once. Oh. Do you know Dub Deuce? Do you live there? Do you know these people? Or have you just been following the case? Okay, so I think this is where we left off. On Tuesday, November 11th, or did we read that? Courtney then reports how Rebecca and Richard, yes, okay, so we left there. Mom hooks up with him after they break up. You lived there your whole life, moved 6 years ago. City folks are moving in, so people are moving away. It used to be an absolutely beautiful community. Is that right? It's cheaper, that's why. The housing has gone up so much that people are going north. Oh my gosh. Sorry about the pooches. You're in Selma? I'm not sure where Selma is. How close is that? Hold on a second. All of your dogs are probably barking right about now. Hold on, guys. Something's getting dropped off. They'll calm in a second. Cadillac thrives off tourism for the outdoors. Yeah. I mean, that's what I've always heard about people going to Cadillac, you know, going up north from where I lived in Michigan anyway. So we called it up north. We're a pup-friendly community. Paws out for the doggos. Bella and Summer. Okay. We are good to go now. Let's keep going. Okay, so Courtney reports that she was planning to divorce Bradley. So Bradley is the stepdad. Summeroo! So she's talking about divorcing this Bradley guy she's married to, which is the stepdad who is arrested and accused of murder. Courtney then became pregnant and was unsure who the father may be, Bradley or Richard. Because of this, she stopped her divorce approximately 2 weeks before the court date for the divorce. Courtney reports that Rich showed up at her house, this is Fowler, with the intention of shooting Bradley Bartholomew. After Courtney rejected Rich, he resumed his relationship with Rebecca. Courtney also reported that Rich had returned to her residence and raped her, forcefully causing her to have a miscarriage of the baby she was carrying. A report of this incident was made with the sheriff's office. However, Courtney said Rich was not charged. Now what? Why would he not be charged, you guys? I mean, this is fucked up. He comes to her house. She says that he forcefully raped her, causing her to have a miscarriage. I don't know if there's proof of the miscarriage, but no charges? Courtney identified that she was concerned for Rebecca as she was aware. I don't know if this is true, but there's a report She was aware of how abusive and aggressive Richard Fowler could be and encouraged Rebecca to leave Rich. So she's encouraging Rebecca, her daughter, to leave Rich. Lieutenant Peace Corps asked about things leading up to the weekend. Courtney reported on Kimberly and Rebecca, the daughters, coming over on Saturday, November 1st. Lieutenant Peace Corps told Lieutenant Peace Corps about giving envelopes to Kim and Rebecca. These envelopes were later reported by both Kimberly and Rebecca to have been empty. Courtney said she was going to give Rebecca cash and didn't want Kimberly to feel left out. So she wanted Kimberly to set up an account so she could put money in an account for her. She gave them empty envelopes. What? I think I'm going to have to look into that case where he faced no charges. We can FOIA the freak out of stuff in this case. Because that doesn't make sense. No, him not getting charges. I need to know more about that. Courtney then reports having forgotten to give Rebecca some items for her baby while at the house. So she contacted Rebecca and brought the items to her at Richard's house Saturday night. Courtney then told Lieutenant Peace Corps that on Sunday, November 2nd, she was supposed to pick Rebecca up to have milkshakes at Dairy Queen. I thought it was Culver's. And get Rebecca laundry soap. These plans fell through when Rebecca went to Cadillac Munson Hospital as she thought she was in labor. Courtney reported that she and Bradley both visited Rebecca and Rich in the hospital that day. It was confirmed that Rebecca was not in labor, had only dilated to 1, and she was released from the hospital. Bartholomew drove Rebecca and Rich home from the hospital. Courtney said that when they arrived at Fowler's, he was throwing their bags, and Rebecca had whispered to her that Rich had been, quote, acting like a real big ass, Mom. Courtney offered to take her home with her, and Rebecca requested they just meet for milkshakes tomorrow and talk. On Monday, November 3rd, Courtney said she went to pick up Rebecca between 1830 and 1900 hours at Fowler's. Courtney reports as they ride, Rebecca said she was tired, which she confronted by telling her she looked stressed. She claimed that Rebecca was upset with Rich, identifying that he had been hounding her to obtain money to fix his truck. Courtney talked about how she encouraged Rebecca to leave Rich, but said Rebecca was afraid to leave him. Hey, Miss Jess. Courtney said when they arrived at her house, she gave Rebecca an envelope with $2,000 cash. And they discussed Courtney throwing her a baby shower. She identified that Rebecca didn't want a baby shower because she was afraid that CPS would take the baby away. Courtney said that while they were talking, Rebecca was texting on her phone and mentioned the possibility she had 2 phones. Courtney said she went in the house to get laundry soap, and when she came back out, she said, quote, I noticed that she deleted something, but didn't know what it was or which phone it might have been on. Courtney said she told Rebecca she would take her back home, but Rebecca told her to hold on. She had someone coming to get her. Courtney said she pulled out of her driveway and a car came up behind her. She identified that she didn't ask Rebecca who it was, out of fear she might push her away. Bullshit. But Rebecca told her she would be back. Courtney said the car had dark tinted windows. There was no plate, but she could tell it was a Chevy. When questioned that social media was reporting the car had taillights of an Impala, Courtney confirmed she was the source of that information. Courtney talked about someone Rebecca knows who has a Chrysler 300 also having similar taillights. Bartholomew didn't follow the car, as she, again, said it would upset Rebecca if she had. Courtney said at about 11 p.m., she reached out to Kimberly to get Rich's number. At about 11:30, she said she tried to call Rich, so she sent him a text that Rebecca had left with someone. Courtney confirmed that Rebecca was texting while they were together. Her next contact with Rich was Tuesday morning, and she reported telling him she had given Rebecca $2,000. Courtney then said that Kimberly sent her GPS location to Rebecca's phone, which she said she put in her phone, and it took her right to the phone. When I asked who went and got the phone, Courtney then identified, quote, we, who was identified as Bradley and herself. It is reported that Bradley found the phone and then handed it to Courtney. Lieutenant Peace Corps confronted Courtney of an image she sent to Rebecca of a check that was made out in her name for $18,000. She claimed that when her mother died, she was left money to do with what she pleased. Courtney confirmed that she sent an image of a check to Rebecca, but that she had not given the check to her. Courtney denied that there was a similar check made out for Kimberly. A statement that Courtney tried to have this meeting prior had fallen through because she didn't have things in place that she needed to. Courtney said it was simply getting kids together at one time. Was what wasn't falling into place. When Lieutenant Peace Corps confronts Courtney that the phone records for the phone that was found on the 2-track was not used to summon someone to pick her up, Courtney then identifies that there are possibly 2 phones. So when Courtney's confronted with this fact that, no, it doesn't look like Rebecca had 2 phones, or it doesn't look like she reached out to anyone for a ride, she says, oh, well, she had 2 phones. Hello, Galen. Hello, Sarasara. Courtney brings up the names of 2 other people that may be involved based on rumors. Specifically that Mike Haynes and Ashley Crows were supposed to help Rebecca get away from Fowler. This might actually be the friends that we watched interviewed. Maybe they were trying to help her. Lieutenant Peace Corps discussed phone locations with Courtney, and she confirmed she picked up Rebecca between 1830 and 1900 hours, came south on S40 and 41.5 road to Mackinac Trail, turned west onto East 33 Quarters Road to continue out to her residence. Location data from Rebecca Park's phone supported this route of travel. Hi, Franny Melville. It is. It's like a real-life Lifetime movie. It's sick. Lieutenant Peace Corps confronted Courtney with the accusations that she killed Rebecca Park. She asked, quote, why the fuck would I do that? Saying that she would never hurt her daughter. During this interview, Courtney Bartholomew said she did not know where Rebecca Park was. When Courtney was asked if she had done anything to harm Rebecca, she again said she would not hurt her daughter. Hey, Ishy's here. While discussing the pickup truck at her residence that was reported to never move, but had moved recently, Courtney reported it doesn't have seats in it, but said it was recently moved to make room to access the porch. Courtney said that Kimberly and Rebecca do not like Bradley Bartholomew. That's her husband. On Tuesday, November 11th, Lieutenant Peace Corps conducted a recorded interview with Bradley. He confirmed his cell number. When asked about Rebecca, Bradley reported that they don't get along. He explained it is due to his criminal history. He described Rebecca and Courtney's relationship as rocky. Bradley said that he was not around on Monday when Rebecca was at the house. He identified that he was at, quote, my place, and described living in the woods near Harrietta and the fish hatchery. Lieutenant Peace Corps was attempting to confirm his presence there. Bradley said he was alone and that his phone was with Courtney. as her phone was about to be shut off. The truck at the house was discussed and identified as not having moved in years. Bradley said that he had been driving the truck up until October 21st, 2025, when the license plate expired. When asked if the seats were out of the truck, Bradley confirmed that they had been. He explained a similar situation, that they were cleaning the truck for Courtney's son, Bentley, to drive when he turned 16. How many kids does this woman have? When Bradley was asked when he found out that Rebecca was missing, he identified it was Monday night or Tuesday morning, and he had denied being at the residence. When Bradley was asked when he found out that Rebecca was missing, he identified, oh wait, I already read that. Bradley told Lieutenant Peace Corps that on Tuesday, November 4th, Courtney Bartholomew, quote, was in town, and he was at the house with Bentley when Courtney texted him the location of where Rebecca's phone was. Bradley said he refused to go out there alone because, quote, I'm not being accused of anything. Bradley said that when Courtney got home, they went out together to look for the phone based on a ping that Kimberly Park had sent to Courtney. Bradley confirmed that he was the person who found the phone on the 2-track, and he picked it up and handed it to Courtney. Bradley said he didn't know how Rebecca's phone ended up on the trail, but suggested she had walked that trail in the past. On Monday, November 24th, Courtney Bartholomew came to the sheriff's office, and Lieutenant Peace Corps began a recorded interview with her. There is a discussion about the TikTok live conversations. So the cops were watching that, y'all. They were watching those TikTok lives. I asked Courtney about a cellular device that a quote-unquote bounty hunter dropped off at the Clare City Police Department. She identified this phone was provided by Kimberly. What? Bounty hunter? During this meeting, I asked Courtney about Kimberly's personal property in her vehicle. She confirmed that she was in possession of items that belonged to Kimberly. However, she didn't want to leave the items with me to return to Kimberly. On Monday, November 24th, Bradley Bartholomew was interviewed by Lieutenant Tim Heelan at the Michigan State Police Crime Lab in Grayling. During his interview, Bradley reported he's trying to protect Kimberly Park, the daughter. So they're all pointing fingers at each other. He said that Kimberly took Rebecca down a 2-track behind the house, and he stated, I believe she's dead. Bradley said to Tim Heelan that he was present during a dinner where Courtney Bartholomew, Rebecca Park, and Kimberly Park on Saturday, November 1st. During this time, Bradley said that Kimberly had a private conversation with him, asking about the 2-tracks behind the house, and that Kimberly stated she needed to get Rebecca, quote, out of the picture. What the hell? On Tuesday, November 25th, Wexford Dispatch received a 911 call from Courtney Letterman stating she had found a body covered with leaves. Oh my God, that quote looks gutted. I can't imagine. Hey, Schmicky. What, Lorna Doone? L.E. visited Roger Craig Blackman. Human remains. I don't know I don't know that name, Lorna Doone. Who's that? Does that have to do with this? So the location of the body was approximately 2.5 miles in a straight line west of 30 South 21.5 Road. Wexford County Deputy Jacob Koponen responded to the area, observed the remains, and reported the deceased female has a tattoo above her left eye. Koponen reported that the abdomen area of the body appears to be cut open. The tattoo above the left eye is consistent with the Michigan driver's license images of Rebecca Park. Oh, you guys are talking about Beach? I don't know what you're talking about. Michigan State Police Trooper Cody Campbell was inside the residence on Tuesday, November 25th, securing the residence until the Michigan State Police Crime Lab personnel could secure or search the home based on a search warrant that had been authorized on that date. While in the presence of Courtney Bartholomew and Bradley Bartholomew, Courtney and Bradley were discussing amongst themselves, loud enough for Trooper Campbell to hear. Courtney mentioned to Bradley that the seat cover from the Ford F-150 in the driveway had recently been burned and disposed of due to something having been spilled on them. Aries says the road curves. That's why there's two road names. Yes, Kimberly is the sister of Rebecca. They are biological sisters, and they were adopted together by Stephanie Park. But their mother is Courtney Bartholomew. A search warrant was served on T-Mobile for Bradley Bartholomew's known cell number. The records that were produced show Bradley's device active in the area of 30 South 21.5 Road on November 3rd. Further, these records show device movement and lingering in the areas consistent with where Bradley and Courtney reported recovering Rebecca Park's cellular device and where her body was discovered. On several occasions on Monday, November 3rd, in the evening hours. These records take place after the records obtained from Rebecca's phone and demonstrate her arriving in the area shortly after 1900 hours. Additionally, records from Rebecca's phone show locations consistent with the reported location of recovery for the device. An autopsy was conducted at Western Michigan University by Dr. Christine James. This is going to be bad. Now we're getting into the autopsy part. It was attended by Deputy Alexis Howard. There were 6 sharp force wounds in Park's back. Good grief. 2 to the right upper arm, 1 to the left trapezius area, 2 to the neck, and at least 2 to the face. The right side of the face also has a laceration and an irregular wound to the cheek of unknown etiology. The wounds to the neck are described as superficial and do not penetrate muscle or harm any vasculature. Most of the wounds to the torso are contained in soft tissue. 1 to the back enters the left pleural space but misses the lung. 1 to the right side of the back enters the right pleural space and does penetrate the right upper ling lobe and caused a large pneumothorax. All major vessels are intact. This is where it gets bad. Rebecca Park's abdomen had incised wounds. The placenta was hanging from the open abdominal wound with attached umbilical cord, and the fetus was absent. The abdomen incision transcended the colon and the small bowel. She was tortured. Dr. James reported that Rebecca Park's stomach contained copious amounts of a blue-green chalky residue. I don't know what that means. There was also a thin film of subdural blood over the left cerebral hemisphere, with focal subdural on the right parietal area. However, there was no subscapular or subgaleal hemorrhage, nor skull fracture is noted. On November 30th, a second search warrant was obtained for Bradley and Courtney Bartholomew's residence. Search warrants to seize the 2007 Ford Escape four-door SUV, red in color. This was registered to Courtney, and the 1992 Ford F-150 pickup, white in color. And they were towed to the Wexford County Sheriff's Office to be processed by Michigan State Police lab technicians. The search warrants were served, and Bradley and Courtney were both taken into custody and transported to the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. On Sunday, November 30th, Lieutenant Peace Corps and Sergeant Hackman conducted a recorded interview with Bradley Bartholomew. Bradley was put on notice that Rebecca's death is a homicide and that this is a homicide investigation and there can't be any more lies. Bradley was read his Miranda rights, and he confirmed his understanding. Bradley reported his knowledge that Courtney went to get Rebecca. They came to the house to get Tide Pods and were supposed to go get ice cream. Bradley said he was at the house with Bentley. Now, that's the other son of Courtney. She's got a 16-year-old son as well that she has custody of, no less. He admitted that he lied during his first interview about being at the residence because of his sex offender registry status. Really? So this bitch Courtney, the bio mom Courtney, has her 16-year-old son against living with an RSO as well.
You're awesome.
Thank you for the sub up, Gayla. Welcome in. Bradley is told SOR violations are small in comparison to a homicide, and he says at that time he didn't know this was a homicide. He reported that Courtney had backed out of the driveway in the Ford Escape, then came back. He says at that time he had no idea where Rebecca was. He said that he knew Courtney left with the white Ford and then came back. He reported that Courtney had told him that she and Rich were in the white Ford and they had a disagreement and there was blood on the dash. Oh, he's only 14? Well, that makes it worse. Courtney asked Bradley to clean it up, which he reported that he went out and wiped it down. He said he didn't see any blood on the floor or on the seats, just blood splattered on the dash. He described that later there was white paint on the seats, and Courtney asked him to remove the seat covers, which he confirmed he did. He said he was unsure what he did with them, if they were thrown in the burn barrel or in the trash. Isn't it, Angie B? Next, he said that Courtney was talking to him about how she and Rich did something horrible, but she wouldn't tell him. He claimed that once the story of Rebecca came out about her being missing, that he began to put two and two together. Bradley reported that Courtney threatened that if he said anything, she'd make his life hell. Bradley identified that Courtney has tried to stab him with scissors in the past and was charged with assault, but the case was dismissed. Bradley clarified that Courtney had told him about something bad happening 5 to 6 days after Rebecca was missing, but he claimed he wasn't sure what bad thing had been done was. When asked about the story about the baby in the NICU at DeVos, Bradley identified that she was supposedly adopting a baby, but he didn't see how she could due to his status as a registered sex offender. Bradley said that Courtney was alone when she got in the white Ford and that she returned approximately 15 minutes later. He stated that he had sent a text to Courtney to see if she needed him to come outside for anything, and she responded in the affirmative. It was now that he said that Courtney reported getting into a fight with Rich. Bradley said he never observed Rich on this date and that he could not observe any injury to Courtney. Returning to the something bad topic, Bradley was asked to continue that topic. He identified that Courtney is all over TikTok and that Kimberly was over to use Escape to deliver newspapers. He confirmed that Kimberly left personal items in the Escape and identified that she did that all the time. When Lieutenant Peace Corps asked about anything else Bradley wanted known before drilling down questions began, he said that Courtney was constantly talking to Rich. He agreed that she was also constantly talking to Kimberly, but he reported he can't hear the conversations as they are all taking place by text. He only knows it's them because he sees their names on her phone. Bradley is then confronted with records from carriers, specifically T-Mobile and Verizon. He was asked about Courtney's phone that she had previously said was no longer to have service. Bradley identified that she had service restored, but was aware she had conducted a factory reset. That sounds familiar, right? He was notified that a factory reset does not prevent access to records that are maintained by the carrier, sorry. Bradley said that he had Courtney's phone on Monday, November 3rd. It is pointed out that there are phone calls between both the phone he uses and the one that Courtney uses while Rebecca is at the house. He passes these as simple calls, checking on her comings and goings. He reports he hasn't driven the truck since he parked it and that it only had enough gas to get to the gas station. I know, it's horrible, you guys. Lieutenant Peace Corps confronted Bradley's statement about the blood in the truck, confirming his knowledge that the truck has been seized, identifying if there is any blood of Rebecca found in the truck, there will be a huge problem. Bradley is confronted if he thought Courtney had been lying to him about what went on, and he says he does. He suggested he can't see Courtney and Rich being together like that as they haven't talked in over 2 years. Bradley confirmed there were no $18,000 checks. He does not know why Courtney sent images of the checks. This is getting really confusing. He did say that he spoke with Kimberly on Saturday, November 1st, after their dinner that night had ended. He said she was asked about the 2 tracks behind the house. He denied that Kimberly told him that she needed to get Rebecca out of the picture. He identified that Kimberly had said this to Rich Fisher, who he identified as Courtney's cousin. Enter in another character. Sergeant Hackman confronted that this is not what Rich Fisher told him. Whoever Rich Fisher is, the cousin, I guess. When he interviewed him personally, Bradley reported that Kimberly is jealous of Rebecca. There we go. There's the bing bong. And that he is aware that Kimberly has had a relationship with Rich in the past. Bradley reported being upset when Kimberly was on the internet, saying he and Courtney were responsible, making a statement that he doesn't understand how anyone could do that to a pregnant woman. He answered that he believes Courtney and Rich would be capable of doing something such as this. When asked for purpose, he gave different possibilities. Bradley agreed that he believes Courtney is capable of slicing open her own flesh and blood and taking a baby out. Good grief. He agreed that Courtney is obsessed with wanting another baby in her care and custody. He also agreed that it was a good possibility she could attack Rebecca and cut a baby out of her. Oh my God. Peace Corps asked if he remembered the Sunday that Rebecca was in the hospital. Courtney saying or texting, quote, "Don't you dare have this baby in the hospital." And Bradley remembers somebody saying it, but not who. Bradley confirmed going to Rich Fowler's house on Saturday to take the gifts to Rebecca that Courtney forgot to give her earlier that day. While discussing being upset that Kimberly had accused him of being involved, Peace Corps asked why he hadn't called him, and Bradley said that Courtney had threatened him that she didn't want him involved. His explanation was that she didn't want to get incriminated or himself incriminated. Bradley began to say that he thinks Courtney has more to do with it than he wants to claim. He said all the evidence is pointing at her. He suggests that he believes all the evidence would be in the white Ford. The blood he observed inside the truck is discussed and described. Bradley said that he removed the original seat covering a week and a half after Rebecca went missing because it got white paint on it. When asked what he thought happened, Bradley responded he thought Courtney was jealous of Rebecca. He agrees that Courtney would like to have another child. He also thinks that Rich wants to get back into a relationship with Courtney. Bradley agrees that he thinks that Courtney could point the finger at him as being responsible when we interview him. When Bradley is confronted with Courtney being in possession of the cellular device when she went to pick up Rebecca, he claims he can't say she possessed it, but it was there at the house, and he had it to call her. He then confirms that Courtney did not have that phone when she went to Fowler's to pick up Rebecca. He reported she got the phone when she got back from getting the white Ford. I am so confused right now. Peace Corps asked Bradley what else he wanted us to know about, and he told us that Courtney has scalpels in her bedside stand. Oh, gross. Ugh. She has scalpels in her bedside stand, describing them as disposable scalpels for lancing cellulitis. Oh, God, that's sick. Bradley doesn't remember going anywhere on the morning of Tuesday, November 4th, other than to Rich Fowler's to give him Rebecca's phone. Bradley confirmed he had come to the hospital on Sunday to bring Courtney her wheelchair, and that he was driving the white pickup while Courtney was there with the Ford Escape. He did not ride back to Manson with Courtney when she drove Rebecca and Richard home. Bradley begins to show some emotion about the possible outcome of this investigation. He is given a break at this point in the interview. On November 30th, Peace Corps and Voss conducted a recorded interview with Courtney Bartholomew. Courtney was read her Miranda rights and agreed to speak with detectives. Courtney identified that the dinner at her house on Saturday was herself, Rebecca, Kimberly, Bentley, and that Brad was hiding in the truck. Peace Corps notified Courtney, this is a homicide investigation and the lies must stop. And if she lies, more charges can be brought. Courtney reported that Bradley is hiding in the truck because the girls won't come in if he's around because they don't like him. She reported that the dinner ended around 1900 to 1930 hours. The next thing happened. She called Rebecca about the items she forgot to give her and said that she and Bradley went to Fowler's to drop the items off and they were in the Ford Escape. On Sunday, November 2nd, she was supposed to pick Rebecca up and waited around till about 1830 hours, and Rebecca called to say she was on her way to the hospital. She described the events at the hospital as she had previously. Bradley brought Courtney her wheelchair. Bradley was driving the white F-150, and he explained how he stopped at the Meyer gas station to get gas for the truck while she drove Rebecca and Richard home. Courtney wanted to know if Bradley could hear her, and she was told he could not. What? She reported talking to Rebecca Sunday night about getting shakes on Monday. She said Rebecca asked her about the $2,000 and said that Rich was upset about something. Courtney confirmed the trip to Fowler's house on Saturday after the dinner to drop off items for Rebecca. When Peace Corps asked Courtney why she wanted to know if Bradley could hear her, she suggested the need to back up, saying she thinks she needs immunity. Peace Corps notified Courtney that the prosecutor is the person who can give immunity. Wow. Courtney suggests we get the prosecutor here, and Peace Corps says she will want to know what she has. Courtney said she will give us where the knife is and where the baby is, that she will give all to us. When Lieutenant Peace Corps confronts Courtney that she has guilty knowledge, she responded that she's been threatened. Her child has been threatened, her home has been threatened, and she's done. Courtney renews her request for immunity and then asks for witness protection. Sergeant Voss explains we can't offer her immunity. When Peace Corps asks Courtney if the baby is alive, she shakes her head in the negative. Sergeant Voss asked Courtney about her prior statement that Bradley hides in the truck. He asked her where he hides. She identified in the cab. She described it as a single cab truck and he lays on the seat. Courtney reported that Bradley had put $15 worth of gas in the truck when he was at Meyer on Sunday night. Courtney asked if Bradley confessed, and Voss reported that he told us a lot of stuff. Courtney confirmed that Bradley is using the phone number 550, and her phone is the 429 phone. She confirms that she had the 429 phone on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday that Rebecca disappeared. She said her phone was taken on Monday night and she was told to go back in the house. Courtney said her phone was taken about 20:30. She renewed her request to contact the prosecutor. Sergeant Voss again told her we need to know what she knows to take it to the prosecutor. When he suggests an example, she will even tell us where the baby is. She interrupts and says, quote, in the garbage in a blue cooler. When asked where, she reported in the GFL, Courtney says. He said he put him in a black bag. The cooler's gone. The cooler is Brad's work cooler. Adding, he put him inside the cooler and drove him up and down the road looking for a GFL that wasn't mine. Now, first of all, I don't know why they're calling it a GFL. I've never heard of a dumpster called a GFL. When Sergeant Voss asked why, Courtney reported that it was related to Bradley going to jail last year when Fowler turned him in. She explained it's all retaliation. She identified the night when they went home after their last interviews. She confronted him about his examination and his failure. Voss asked Courtney which vehicle he used to get rid of the body. She identified her white truck. She is then asked how he got in a position to kill her. She explained how she pulled in the driveway. She had notified him that she was on their road. She explained that she got to the house and talked to Rebecca for a few minutes, and Bradley walked up and pulled her out and said, I want to talk to you. Courtney described that the white truck was sitting by the road and explained that she didn't think anything of it. You know, Brad was supposed to be her stepdad. Courtney wanted to know where they were going, and Brad told her to take her ass in the house and don't worry about it. Is that what that stands for, Emmy Jo? Garbage facility location? GFL? I don't know. She said she went in the house because she didn't think he would hurt her. Bradley is reported to have returned about 22:30 hours and told he had taken Rebecca home. Courtney confronted him that he had not, and he told her that he had, and she would call her in the morning. Courtney asked him for her phone, which he reported he told her was out in the shed, and he went out to get it. She said when he came back in the house, he said, yeah, she didn't go home. Instead, telling Courtney he took her to a house. But when she asked him to take her there, he just told her Rebecca said to him she didn't want anything to do with Courtney. Courtney reported calling Rich to tell him to call her back ASAP. And while Brad was watching her, she told Rich that, dude, your old lady left with some guy, or Bradley would backhand her. Courtney confirmed for Peace Corps that the story about the black car was made up and never happened. Asking her to continue, she reported Kimberly sent her coordinates to Rebecca's phone, asking Bradley why her daughter's phone would be across the road, and his response was, I don't fucking know. She asked Bradley to take her to the phone, and she said he took her right to it. She said that phone was exactly where the coordinates is. She said it was out in the open and appeared someone just set it down. They took the phone directly to Rich's, but before their arrival, she said that Bradley told her, I'm telling you right fucking now, do not say a fucking word. Kimberly got the phone from Rich, and Courtney reported that Kimberly had called her, said she was taking the phone to the cops. She said Kimberly called her at 2100 hours on Tuesday to tell her this. When asked to continue, Courtney identified that in her second to last drawer in her bedstand, she has razor knives that she uses to nick open her cellulite so they will drain. She reported that one was gone, which she said she knew because she counted them due to a teenage boy living in her house. Courtney agreed the knives are like scalpels. When she confronted Bradley about the missing knife, she answered. He didn't say anything then. Peace Corps confronted her that her use of the word them means he must have said something to her, and she reported it was after her body was found. Courtney said she kept asking Bradley where her daughter was, saying he answered, you'll find out soon enough. She goes on the report that after returning from his last interview, he told her about Kimmy, was asking about woods behind the house to go trail riding. Courtney said that Kimberly will not talk to Bradley ever alone. She reported trying to get Rich Fisher to take Kimberly's bag to her. She said Bradley said, you can't have that. You're not taking her bag. He said, nobody's taking this bag. Courtney said she realized Kimberly's wallet was in the bag, questioning why he would want her wallet. Peace Corps confronted Courtney that he had asked for Kimberly's property while she was at the sheriff's office and that she refused. She explained that she was told not to, suggesting she didn't want to get her ass beat. She reported that on Tuesday, November 25th in the morning, Bradley took the truck and went west on W26 Road and was gone for about 20 minutes. She said when Bradley came back, she asked him if he had hurt her daughter, and he told her, no, I didn't hurt her. Courtney said that was the same day Rebecca's body was found. Courtney said that on Wednesday, November 26th in the morning, she confronted Bradley and asked him what he did. She reported he told her, I'm going to tell you once, and I'm going to tell you, and you're going to fucking drop it, and you're going to shut the fuck up. He's like, I'm the reason your fucking daughter is not here, that your life is upside down right now. When she asked him why, she said Bradley said, Rich fucked with the wrong motherfucker. She agrees this is all a revenge plot. Courtney said that when she asked him what he did to her daughter, Bradley said, I slit her fucking throat. Bitch deserved it. She goes on to say that Rich deserved it too. And it just happened to be her daughter that's going to pay for it. Courtney said when she asked about her grandson, she said Bradley said, oh, I stuck him in a cooler, stuck him in a trash bag, and threw him in the trash. Peace Corps asked Courtney that if Bradley is paying Rich back, why cut the baby out? And she said, because if he would have left the baby in there and had someone found her before, he would have survived, he would have thought. Courtney was asked, why not just cut the baby out and kill it? Why take it? And she said he told her the baby wasn't breathing when he pulled him out. Again, she was asked why he'd take it. Now she answers it's because she didn't want Rich to see they were together. And she admitted she didn't know what that meant. The fuck? When asked about where the baby is now, Courtney said that he put him in a blue cooler, in a trash bag, into a GFL container. She confirmed that she is talking about a residential GFL trash receptacle. Courtney said that she was never at the location where the body was found because he wouldn't let her. She doesn't know how many times he went to the location. When asked if she was killed at the location she was found or at the end of her driveway, she answers that she doesn't know. but said it wasn't in her driveway because he pulled away quickly with her. Courtney said that he walked out of his truck and not the house to get her out of the truck, confirming it was from the escape into the F-150. When Peace Corps reminded Courtney that she knew where the knife was at, she said he threw it in a dumpster at Cadillac Shores. When asked when he had done that, she first announced that it was her hunting knife. She said it was probably like a week after, and the knife was put in the dumpster. She did not know what happened to the disposable scalpel, adding that she had no clue and wished she knew. Voss asked Courtney what she was looking for in an immunity agreement, what she was afraid of, and then confronted her that she had provided a lot of misinformation to the police. She reassured us that she would cooperate the whole way. Peace Corps pointed out her obstruction of the investigation, and she agrees. When asked about the seat covers, Courtney said Bradley burned them. She also said that Bradley went out and cleaned the truck, specifically mentioning the dash. She described that the cloth was burned and the bucket was taken back in the house. Courtney didn't think the floor in the truck was cleaned. Courtney was asked about the Kimmy stuff, and she suggested that Kimberly doesn't know anything. She was just trying to feel important. Voss confronted Courtney that she was the person who told us recently that Kimberly was in the black car. She reported that Bradley came up with the story about Kimberly. Courtney said she knew that Kimberly told us that she hit her, and hit her body. When asked how she knows Kimberly told us this, Courtney said she told Ashley and reported Ashley is Rich's baby mama. God. Ashley Crows has a child with Richard Fowler. Courtney said that all that Kimberly did was lie to the police and had no involvement. She also said that Rich Fowler was not involved, but did say she didn't know if he deleted anything from Rebecca's phone or not. Peace Corps asked about a text message about not allowing anyone from the state of Michigan on her property, and Rebecca saying they should talk about that. So she is clear on what that means. Courtney denied sending such message. Voss asked when she first learned what had actually happened, and she said it was after her body was found. Peace Corps then pointed out she could have covered herself if she had cooperated on Monday at Mount Pleasant. Voss asked how Bradley told her how he killed Rebecca. And she said, he told me that he slit her fucking throat. When he asked how, she told him that he cut the baby out. She said he had one of my scalpels. She denied that he said how he did that. Then said, he just said that I cut him out. That was it. That was all he said. Sergeant Voss asked about the baby getting cut out, being put in a garbage bag, put into a blue cooler, and what he said about that. She said that he just said he took him, put him in a garbage bag, stuffed him in a cooler, and threw him in a trash dumpster. She knows that it was that specific cooler because his work cooler is gone. She shows the size as a lunchbox size cooler and described it as a soft-sided cooler with hard plastic inside to keep the sides supported and has a black strap. Courtney reported the garbage bags came from her house. What? And she knows because she counts her garbage bags? Nobody counts their garbage bags, Courtney. Stop it. She noticed 2 of her garbage bags gone. The hunting knife is described as being green, having a serrated blade on one side and a flat blade on the other. She said it's a fixed blade, not a folding knife. She's sure that Bradley used that knife. The knife was purchased at Walmart last year. She provided a description. When asked if she noticed any items missing out of Kimberly's purse, she didn't report any. Courtney denied that Bentley knows anything. We took a break and moved Courtney to another room. On November 30th, Sergeant Voss and I began a second recorded interview with Bradley. We reminded Bradley that the rights discussed earlier still applied. He was good with it. Peace Corps notified Bradley that Courtney was putting it all on him. He broke down details that Courtney had provided. Peace Corps explains how the investigation has come down to involving him and Courtney. Voss explained how we believe it went down and how evidence will support the investigation. An appeal was made to Bradley to tell the truth. Bradley is confronted with how much gas he put in the truck and when he was at Meyer on Sunday after leaving the hospital. He reported $5. When asked about information he feels we should know that hasn't been discussed, Bradley reports that he knows his lunch cooler is missing and describes it as being blue and thinks it's Oregon Trail brand. He said it's big enough to hold an 8-pack of pop bottles. His description of the cooler is basically the same as Courtney's. He estimates the cooler has been missing for about 2.5 weeks. Bradley is not aware of Courtney counting their garbage bags because of Bentley's use of them. We confront Bradley that she is blaming him for dumping the body, putting the fetus in his lunchbox. He explained that she is attempting. It is explained she's blaming him. Bradley is confronted with a statement he made in his first interview that Rebecca was stabbed. Voss asks him about that statement and how he knows that Rebecca was stabbed. Peace Corps pointed out that both he and Courtney have reported on the scalpel and that you don't need to make a stabbing motion with a scalpel to slice someone open. It is pointed out that Courtney said he is threatening her, including in the parking lot, prior to them leaving for their interviews on Monday. It is also shared with him that she identified it was revenge for Fowler turning him in last year, to which he responded, "That's bullshit." Of course it is, right? It is explained that what Courtney had said about why the baby was cut out of Rebecca during a revenge murder doesn't make sense. We remind him of the NICU story and her attempts to get custody of Kimberly and Rebecca's children. Bradley tells us, "I'm sure Courtney stabbed her because she did have a hunting knife." He reported the case for the knife went into the trash bin and thinks it might still be in the bin. He identified that the knife went into the trash at Cadillac Shores. He reports that Courtney is the one who cut the baby out of Rebecca. He confirms that he witnessed this, and it had taken place where she is laying out on the trails behind the house. He confirms that is the reason he told an officer to check the trails behind the house. He reported that he knew Rebecca had a bunch of leaves on her because Courtney buried her in leaves where she was found. Bradley confirmed that a scalpel from the bedroom was used. When he was asked if the baby was alive when he was cut out, he responded no. He confirmed that it was just the two of them that were present. When Voss asked when she stabbed her, where did she stab her? Bradley said in the truck. And that, that tracks with what they said the evidence in the truck was, right? The blood on the dash. When asked what location on Rebecca's body had Courtney stabbed her, he responded he didn't know as he just jumped out of the truck. Bradley reported that Rebecca had gotten into the white truck voluntarily. He confirms that the plan to get the Tide Pods was legit. He was unaware that the plan was to stab her. Bradley denied there was a plan of this. While in the pickup, Bradley said he was driving. Courtney was in the passenger seat, and Rebecca was in the middle. He claimed to not know what Courtney had told Rebecca to get in the truck. Initially, Bradley was in the house with Bentley, and he said he went outside to get away from everything, so he didn't have to worry about Rebecca coming in. He denied getting a phone call from Courtney that they were in the driveway. All liars. When he got outside, Courtney and Rebecca were in the Escape. Courtney said she blew a tire on the Escape, so they got in the truck. From here, they get on the trail to the woods because the truck doesn't have a valid plate. Bradley said that Courtney was mad because Rebecca was always bad-mouthing her and wouldn't give her a chance to be a mom. Bradley confirmed that Courtney wanted the baby for herself. Despite Courtney wanting the baby, Bradley said it was unrealistic to expect that Courtney would be allowed to adopt the baby. Well, I'm wondering about that substance, Jammers. The fact that they were supposed to go for milkshakes or whatever. Did they poison her? Did they give her something in her milkshake or something? Was that part of the plan or? Bradley described that the actual stabbing began when Courtney just grabbed the knife and started stabbing her. The knife had been down on Courtney's right. She said she stabbed her in the chest as far as he knew, but said he jumped out of the truck when Courtney started swinging, so he wasn't sure. Bradley knew they were on the trails and said he could take officers to the scene. Sergeant Voss asked at what point did they realize that Rebecca is dead, and he identified that it was after Courtney cut the baby out of her. He said that Courtney tried CPR on the baby. Bradley said that Rebecca was not in the truck when Courtney cut the baby out of her. He said that Courtney tricked her to get out of the truck and made her start walking after she had already been stabbed. Oh my God. Rebecca walked behind the truck but is unable to run due to her pregnancy. When Voss asked what Courtney did to kill Rebecca, he explained that Courtney had Rebecca lay down as she was still alive and she got the baby out of her. What the fuck? Bradley said he was beside the trail telling Courtney that she didn't need to do that. That's not right. They do not have the bag or the cooler that the baby is eventually put in at this time. They didn't have it with them. Now the baby is cut out. Bradley said they just left Rebecca there. He identified that he couldn't tell if she was dead or not. Courtney decided they should head to the house, and Courtney is holding the baby on her lap as Bradley drives. Bradley said the baby never took a breath. He never heard the baby cry. It took about 5 minutes to get back to the house. Bradley stated that Courtney took the baby in the house and in her bedroom, where she was trying to perform CPR on the baby, which is on a towel on the bed. He also said he tried to perform CPR on the baby by doing chest compression and breathing into his mouth. He said this went on for about 15 minutes after they arrived home. Bradley reported that Courtney went in the kitchen, got a garbage bag, and placed the baby in a garbage bag and went outside with the baby. Hold on. I lost my spot. I totally lost my spot. Sorry. Okay. He identified that the cooler was in the bed of the white truck, and he saw the baby go into the cooler. He explained that the baby went into the cooler because the cooler can be zipped up, and it had the baby in it, and dispose of the cooler and not be seen. Bradley said that the same night he's with Courtney, who is now driving the truck. They went and disposed of the knife first, and they put the baby in a GFL tote at a house north of their residence, where there had been some logging done recently. Bradley denied burning the seat covers. He said Courtney burned them. He did say he cleaned the inside of the truck using a gray bucket and some bleach and water. He denied cleaning the floor and believes there will be blood on the floor of the truck. Bradley denied placing the phone on the 2-track, but again, said he found it on the 2-track. He did agree that he had the 550 phone on his person on Monday, November 3rd. Sergeant Voss confronts Bradley that if Courtney had told him to do this, we want him to tell us now. He denies that he stabbed Rebecca. Peace Corps asked Bradley about the card found with Rebecca. He said he didn't know anything about it and couldn't recall what it was, but knew it was on social media. He did not see a card when he left the area. He also did not see another weapon or tools when he was at the scene or anything else. Bradley doesn't know if anyone had been to the scene since she was killed and denied that he had been back to the scene. When Bradley was asked about Rebecca not having shoes on, he appeared surprised by that. Bradley gives a description of where Rebecca's body was in relation to the trail and where things occurred. He denied that Courtney had asked him to position the truck so the truck lights would assist. He said the lights shining around the side, the front of the truck was enough illumination for Courtney to cut the baby out. When he left the baby, or when he left the body, was still on the same hill. Courtney covered Rebecca with leaves, but denied branches were placed on her. At the time, the baby was on a towel next to Courtney. Questioning the presence of a towel, Bradley is asked if he thinks Courtney planned this. And he said, I have a feeling she did, but never told him of a plan. Bradley did not see Courtney place a towel or the hunting knife in the truck. Using a Wexford County map, Bradley showed the route of travel. He agreed he could take officers out and show them where things had taken place. While discussing if there was any blood on the clothing he or Courtney had been wearing that night, he identified that when they got home, Courtney changed into a nightgown. Previously, he had said they had gone out and disposed of the baby and the knife that night. But now, when asked about this, Bradley said the baby stayed in the cooler that night on the back porch. That is sick. This is so sick. He now reported it was Wednesday, November 5th, when the items were placed in dumpsters, specifically because Thursday is garbage day. He said that Courtney, who placed the cooler with the baby in it in the garbage tote, they were in the escape when they discarded the knife and baby. Bradley said one of the things he believes Courtney said after she couldn't revive the baby was, quote, the bitch killed my baby. Bradley reported that he watched Courtney. The knife was placed in the glove box of the escape, and he believes there will be blood located inside the glove box. On November 30th, Sergeant Voss and I conducted a second recorded interview with Courtney. As she enters the interview room, Courtney reports she's ready to go home. When it's pointed out that she is saying it's all Bradley, when asked what she thinks Bradley has been saying, she reported that he's probably saying it's both of them. We confirm her statement and say that we know both are present. Courtney denies wanting the baby for herself. She admitted that Bradley brought the baby to the house, told her the baby was not breathing. Courtney said she told him to call 911, but Bradley said, we're not doing that. She denied getting involved and said it was because she has Bentley and can't put herself in a position like that. Courtney reported that the day the drones were flying around, the baby was in the metal shed out in the back. Courtney said she knew that Bradley was going to try to pin this on her because he had told her, bitch, I'll take you with me. Courtney told us that Bentley can prove she was home on the 3rd. God, that poor kid. Courtney is confronted with her explanation that Rebecca willingly got in the truck with Bradley to go for a ride, that he then murdered her and cut the fetus out. When confronted with cell phone data and location data, Courtney announces that Bradley had taken her phone so she couldn't call the police. Courtney is confronted with her versions of events being difficult to believe. Eventually, Courtney said she's going to tell us what happened. Brad took her. He brought the baby back. I tried. I didn't. I couldn't. I tried to save my grandson, and began to cry. Eventually, Courtney said she's going to tell us what happened. Brad took her. He brought the baby back. I tried. I didn't. I couldn't. Oh, whoops. I already read that. Courtney said he pulled her out of the car and she got in the truck. Courtney admits that she told Rebecca she was going to come with her. She places herself in the truck. On the passenger side, Rebecca is in the middle and Bradley's driving. Bradley has the knife, according to her. From the house, they drove to where Bradley ended up stabbing Rebecca. She claimed not to know Rebecca was going to die that night. Courtney places Bradley across the street from their house as she is arriving with Rebecca. Courtney admits she knows something is going to go down because Bradley is on foot across the road waiting for them to arrive. She reported that Bradley approached the vehicle by just walking up on her side, grabbed Rebecca by the arm, got her out of the escape, and she willingly gets into the pickup to go for a ride after he told Rebecca, "Your mom's going with us." From the house, they drive to where Rebecca gets stabbed. Courtney said that Bradley told Rebecca to get out of the truck, while Courtney stayed inside. Rebecca is taken to the rear of the truck where Bradley stabbed her. At first, she said she assumed that he stabbed Rebecca because he came back with the knife all bloody. Sergeant Voss asked Courtney, "At what point did she cut the baby out of Rebecca?" She answered, "I didn't, he did, and he handed him to me." Courtney also said the baby wasn't breathing, and she didn't hear him cry. Courtney claimed to have never gotten out of the truck because she didn't have her crutches or her wheelchair. She again claimed that this was a revenge plot because she had a sexual relationship with Rich and because Rich got Bradley put in jail. She claimed that Bradley wanted to hurt Rich. When confronted with the report that she stabbed Rebecca while driving down the road, Courtney denied it. When asked how all the blood got in the truck, she answered it was from the knife, then suggested that Rebecca got back in the truck. Eventually, Courtney admitted that she cut the baby out of Rebecca in an attempt to save him so she could take him to Rich. My God. When she cut the baby out, Courtney said that Rebecca was conscious and Bradley was holding the knife to her throat. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is terrible. She told Rebecca to lay back. Your baby is going to die. Courtney denied that Rebecca had been stabbed while in the truck. Revisiting the driveway, Voss asked if Bradley held the knife to her throat to get her in the truck. Courtney nodded her head in the affirmative. While in the truck, Bradley put the knife down by his left side. During the ride, Voss asked what is said to Rebecca, and Courtney said she told her everything is going to be okay. Courtney promised that Brad wasn't going to hurt her. When they get to the area where this happens, Brad pulled Rebecca out of the truck, spun her around, stabbed her in the back 4 or 5 times. Bradley brings Rebecca to her side of the truck and is sitting next to the door. Bradley ordered Rebecca to lay back. Courtney said she told Rebecca if she doesn't lay back, her baby's going to die. Courtney looked in the truck, saw the scalpel, so she hurried up and did it, but her grandson wasn't breathing. Courtney said she started her incision along her belly, and Bradley told her to cut downward. It would be easier. Courtney reported that Rebecca is still talking at this time, telling her to hurry up and asking if he is out. She said she told Rebecca he was out. He was about out, and Rebecca told her to save him. When she got the baby out, Courtney said she had dental floss. Wow. When she got the baby out, Courtney said she had dental floss from the dash that she had put in her pocket because she knew she'd have to tie off the umbilical cord. This shit was so planned. She reported tying off the umbilical cord the best she could. Once the baby was out, she said that Bradley slit Rebecca's throat with the knife. Next, she said Bradley used a cord from the snowplow on the truck. Oh, my word. Holy shit. Holy fuck. Used a cord from the snowplow on the truck to hook her body to the truck. He pulled Rebecca down the bank maybe 20 feet, pulling her back and off the road. She said he then covered her with leaves. Courtney said the towel was in the truck already, but she didn't know how the scalpel got in the truck. Courtney talked about how she would have come to the sheriff's office if she had been able to give the baby to Rich to report what happened. Discussing this, she claims Since this happened, she hasn't been able to get away from Bradley. When reminded that on Monday she was in Mount Pleasant and he was in Grayling, she should have said something then. Courtney confirmed that after she was stabbed, Rebecca never got back in the truck. She was asked how the blood got in the truck. Oh my God. Courtney reported it was from the umbilical cord, making blood fly all over. Courtney said she never stabbed Rebecca. She was only responsible for trying to save her grandson. Oh, what a hero. When asked if she thought she could have tried to save her daughter, she said she couldn't. When asked how many times she talked to Bradley on the way from her house to Rich's, she reported it was only once. She identified she had the 429 phone, and the call lasted about 10 minutes. Peace Corps confronted Courtney with the 2 incisions she admitted to having made to remove the baby. He asked her if she thinks Rebecca would have survived those wounds. She said, no, probably not. Courtney admitted that about 1 or 2 months prior to this having happened, Bradley researched the procedure for getting a baby out. Oh, my God. Courtney said that Bradley put the items in the dumpster, but she was present in the Ford Escape for both. Courtney is asked whose idea it was to leave the items at the crime scene. She said it was Brad's. She then identified the items were She then identified that the items were Kimberly's debit card and a razor knife. Courtney reported these items were placed after Kimberly went on social media saying Courtney and Bradley were responsible and were framing Kimberly. When pressed on the debit card, Courtney said it belongs to James Mercer, not Kimberly. Who the fuck is that? And the card came from Kimberly's backpack. She said he used one of the plastic bags from her backpack to keep from getting fingerprints on it. These items were suspected to have been placed by Bradley the day before Rebecca's body was recovered. She said he left with the Escape for about 20 minutes that day. Peace Corps asked Courtney to provide some information that isn't already known so he could verify her statements. She reported Brad said it was his in reference to Rebecca's baby. Now, when it is questioned that they don't like each other, Courtney said yes, they do. Revisiting the conversation they had with Bradley a month prior about C-sections, she reported that he looked it up on his phone. When asked why they were having that discussion, Courtney answered, because that's what was going to happen. She said he told her he was going to cut the baby out of Rebecca right in front of Rich. Courtney said she brushed it off. When Peace Corps commented on Courtney's story about having delivered a premature baby that was down at the NICU, she denied it and suggested it was a friend's baby that she was thinking about giving up. What? As she is being confronted about the obviousness that there was for a plan like this to happen, Courtney said that Bradley had told her to pull straight in. But she didn't. She turned the corner in her driveway instead. Questioning why he told her to pull straight in, Courtney reveals that Bradley told her if he was going to do anything, it would be right there. When he does grab Rebecca, Courtney tries to get him to stop. But she said that he had the knife to Rebecca's throat, and he ordered everyone to get in the white truck. While in the white truck, Rebecca slid over to Courtney, asking what was going on, and she reassured her Bradley just wanted to talk. Courtney described that Rebecca was calm after just having a knife held to her throat to get her in the truck. So, wow. That's a lot. That is a lot. I've never heard of something so horrific. I'm shook. I'm going to go grab something to drink. I'm parched after reading all that. Whew. I think that's the end of it, though, right here. Yeah. So the next thing that we have, guys, is them being in court yesterday. We're going to watch that next. What effing monsters. I want to watch this with you, though. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a pop. Just give me 2 seconds. 2 minutes. 2 and 2. The question I have, though, was Rebecca, was she drugged? What was that substance in her stomach? All right, hold on. You guys ready? Okay. Be back in 2 and 2. That's right, Kelly Mack. They did deserve so much better, Kelly. Thank you guys who stuck around to listen to that. I know that shit was not easy. Thank you, Pines. As always, Jay, thanks for taking us through this barbaric PCA in the only way you can with integrity and compassion. Thank you. They've known Courtney since she was 11. Wexford County lets meth heads go. You know, it's probably very difficult to manage. You know, do you ever watch Jeffrey Middleton, the Judge Jeffrey Middleton? He's over on the west side of Michigan. Maybe not so far north. I can't remember what county Middleton's in, but if you watch that, you see there's a lot of people. There is a lot of people that have, you know, there's substance issues in these towns up in northern Michigan pretty bad. This just sounds absolutely horrific. But the thing is, these assholes were in court yesterday, and we have cameras in the courtroom, so I think that this will be a good one to follow as we see justice through for her and the baby. But the thing that I want to question, you know, how do we believe these people's story? How do we believe their story about anything? You know? I mean, have they located this cooler? No, they have not. So where is the baby? Oh, I appreciate that, Kelly. I want to thank you, Southern Ish. Thank you, Ishi. Thank you for reviewing this. It's so hard to fathom. Hugs back to you, baby. It is hard. Oh, peak October. No, I did not see your comment. Sorry, I was reading. Pink October says, Jay, I don't know if you saw my previous comment, but thanks again for covering this case. This is my hometown and my family still lives in the area. Wow. Do you guys think that the baby's alive? Or no? I know that we all kind of want to have hope that baby Richie's okay, but I don't. Do you think that she's telling the truth that the baby wasn't breathing? Maybe, yeah, they probably are, Snazzy. Can you imagine having to search landfills for a small ass cooler? No, you guys don't. Yeah. I wasn't too hopeful either. But then I'm like, well, these people are lying liars who lies. Is there a chance that he's still alive? But it doesn't really sound promising. These people are shitbags, man. So now we've got poor Bentley, who's without parents. Right? I mean, yeah. Yeah. He went to heaven with his mom, his mommy. Oh my God. I can't even fathom what these guys go through. Hi, True Crime Rewind with Renee. Good to see you. Yeah. Hi, Scaramouche. Poor baby. The baby probably was not breathing when they cut it out. Right. Janice Smith. I agree with that. She said, I think there's zero chance. These two Methanese performed a successful C-section. How sick that a month before they were looking it up, though. Right. So what's the motive, do we think? Do we think the motive was jealousy? Because I think the mom was jealous of Rebecca. Could that be the motive? She wanted her baby, wanted Rich, because we read that she was talking about leaving Bradley. There's thousands of acres in Manistee National Forest. They were out in the woods. It's tough terrain out there. It's just so awful. All right, so we have them in court yesterday. This is a court appearance. Let's see. Defendants connected to the Rebecca Park case appeared in court today as part of today's show cause hearing. Both Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew's next appearances have been rescheduled for January 13th. So we'll be back in court on January the 13th. Mark that down. And Kimberly Park has been rescheduled for the 16th of December. So in 6 days, we'll probably have a hearing with Kimberly to watch. Hopefully we can watch it, stream it live. Hi, Tracy. Yeah, I was thinking about selling the baby, but there was no talk of that. It was more like, oh, the Tide Pods. Scaramouche said, I wonder if stress from mom had something to do with the baby losing his life. The blue-green chalky substance on belly. Could it be a Tide Pod? I bet it is. Good catch. I think Courtney wanted that baby to try to prove she was a good mom because she lost her daughters in her own sick, demented mind. I think that could be part of it, too. Southern-ish, the bio mom said, or the adopted mom, rather, she said that she encouraged them not to be in touch with her, but they were adults and were curious. Janice thinks that Courtney thought she could pass the baby off as her own. I mean, she did tell the story that she was pregnant. Oh, that's another thing. Didn't you say that she thought the hospital? Yeah. Why did Rebecca think the hospital CPS would take the baby? Or was that just the mom lying? Was that Courtney lying? The Tide really, yeah, that does make sense, you guys. Okay, so let's watch this hearing and let's see what happened in court yesterday because I didn't watch this yet. This is all new to me. I'll put on the closed captions and let's see these shitbags. Well, I mean, the woman brought dental floss for the umbilical cord. Completely premeditated. And she has one freaking leg? Why did she have a leg amputated? What the hell's going on here? I like him too, Middleton. All right, here we go. I think the stepdad's a monster, Mrs. America, from what I'm hearing. It just keeps getting worse. Middleton's in Three Rivers. Thank you. I knew it was by Kazoo, right? Isn't that near Kazoo? North of Kazoo? Between Kazoo and Grand Rapids, I believe. So you've got your small town Michigan here. we've got the prosecutors sitting here at the desk, and now they're bringing in the defendant and the lawyer. There's Courtney.
This is case number 254947FY. Again, the people of the state of Michigan versus Kimberly Sue Park. Appearances, counsel.
Joanna Carey for the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. Patrick Cherry on behalf of Mrs. Park.
Thank you. And we are here for a probable cause.
How old is Courtney? She looks young. Let me get some gain on this. It's pretty low.
Conference, counsel, I'm assuming there is no resolution in this case.
There is no resolution, Your Honor, and we would ask, I assume it's both of us asking that this matter be reset. We still do not have discovery, and it has not been provided to the defense.
Mr. Chair.
That's correct, Your Honor. I've never had an issue getting discovery from Ms. Carey's office before. I'm curious as to what's taking law enforcement so long to get me a recording of the interview or things like that, and certainly I'm sure Ms. Carey will get on within the next week to do that.
Okay, this is Kimberly. My bad. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. This is Kimberly.
But because I don't have the discovery, there's nothing for us to discuss yet, so I think we have to adjourn the hearing.
I understand. The court is well aware of the complexity of this case and the number of agencies involved with the investigation. Ms. Carey, Mr. Cherry, how long do you want to adjourn the probable cause conference for?
Your Honor, if I can just get the allegations in this case, separate from the Bartholomew cases, is an interview that occurred on November 28th. If I can get that recording and the police report, that would get us started a long way towards our conversations, I think, without having to get into all of the follow-up investigation that relates to the Bartholomew's. So that shouldn't take too long, I wouldn't think.
Ms. Carey.
I'm going to ask for, I know the holidays are coming up as well, so I don't want to prolong it too long. If we set it for, I have a conflict on the 22nd or 23rd, whatever that Tuesday is. So if we could do it on a different day that week, I can check with law enforcement and see how much longer they think it's going to take to get those items and try to get it in.
Ironically, when I opened my email app to check my calendar, I have the evidence email for this case. So
it must have come in this morning.
Maybe this, if we could set it out a week.
So we will reset this then for, do we have time on the 15th?
RL, they haven't found the baby. So she's been out on bond. She showed up to court looking like this. This is her. This is Kimberly out on bond, you guys. Monica, we're not sure what the motive is here yet. Thank you, Miss Flo. I would appreciate a video breakdown with all involved to clear my confusion. Thanks. It's a good idea. Yes, this is the sister, Kimberly.
Yeah, it came in at 10:48.
Ms. Carey, we just had an assistant AG join us. Is she on this case? Or?
I believe she's on the child court matter.
So we'll keep it for the 16th. All right, we will reset this then for a probable cause conference on next Tuesday, the 16th at 10:30.
Okay, so next Tuesday, she's back in at 10:30, I think he said.
And obviously, we'll see where we're at that point. Anything else for the record, Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Park had a couple of bond issues that she just wanted me to clarify with the court. I think I understand them, but I want to make sure because there's a lot of misinformation. One, that her bond does not require a GPS tether. She doesn't need to go and get that taken care of. That's my understanding from the court's ruling.
That's correct.
Okay. And then 2, she has a no contact order with the Bartholomews and Mr. Thaler. That does not, so there was, I believe the court's aware there was a candlelight vigil for Rebecca last weekend. Both Ms. Park and Mr. Thaler were present, but they did not communicate with each other. They have permission to be in the vicinity, just have no actual contact with one another. Is that correct?
I will only say that no contact means no contact.
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you.
No contact means no fucking contact.
No, thank you.
All right. Then we're adjourned on this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, let's bring in the 2 shit bags. What a mess. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, Ishi. I didn't realize I missed the hearing. I'm sorry.
Are we ready on courtny Bartholomew?
Excuse me. That was just yesterday, Pink October. They said no, she didn't have to have one. I agree, it's a lot. I'll have to do some more research on this. Court records and stuff like that. Oh God, she's only 40.
This is case number 254994FY, the people of the state of Michigan versus Courtney Marie Bartholomew, Appearances Counsel.
Joanna Carey for the people. Good morning, Your Honor. Tracy Deinhardt here on behalf of Ms. Bartholomew, who's present and seated to my right.
Thank you. You may be seated. We are here for a probable cause conference. Before we get to that, I will note in the file there's a second amended complaint. I know we addressed this when we arraigned Ms. Bartholomew on the first amended complaint, and that was adding the phrase and or to the venue. I arraigned her on the first amended complaint based on the and or, but I'll just note for the file that has, or for the record, that second amendment has now been filed with the court. As I said, we're here for a probable cause conference. Again, I'm assuming there's no resolution in this case. Am I accurate on that?
Correct. That's correct, Your Honor.
I know based on the prior case, discovery has been still in the process of being put together. Ms. Carey, any request to it?
Yes, I would request that this be set out.
Any objection to that?
Your Honor, I have no objection to that. I have discussed the set out with my client. We would waive any 21 days in this case pursuant to the court rules. There are some ongoing conversations that are being had with the prosecution, and we do anticipate that prior to any preliminary examinations in this case, there will be some motions filed in anticipation of that hearing. So we would ask for this to be adjourned out for approximately 3 months.
For PCC, 3 months?
3 months. This chick is the one that kept asking for a deal. And her lawyer's like, we're talking to the prosecutor. Do we think that she's going to get a deal? I hope neither one of them gets a deal. Neither one should get a deal.
I would say 30 days for a PCC, okay. Your Honor. Right. Let me rephrase that. Thank you.
Any objection, Ms. Carey?
No, thank you.
All right.
Look how red.
And based on the stipulation, we will set this out for a new PCC after 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else for the record?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Carey?
No, thank you.
Thank you. We're adjourned on this case.
That was fast. I want to know how she lost her leg. Why is she an infant to drugs?
Bradley Bartholomew?
Bradley. way down. Look how little that courtroom is. I know. I can't imagine it either. I mean,
All right, this is the case of People's State of Michigan versus Bradley Allen Bartholomew, case number 254995FY. Appearances, counsel.
Joanna Carey for the people.
Harry Mihas for Bradley Bartholomew.
Nicole Smith for Bradley Bartholomew.
Great, thank you. You may be seated. We are here for a probable cause conference, and I see there is no resolution and discoveries pending. Ms. Carey, is there any request in this case?
The people would again request that this be adjourned. And frankly, I would ask that it keep it with Ms. Bartholomew's case as well.
Mr. Mihas, any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor. In addition, we've discussed the 21-day rule with our client. He understands the need for discovery. At this point, we're only aware of what's on social media. That obviously is not appropriate to proceed. And so we're waiving that with Mr. Bartholomew's permission.
All right, and I see the form is marked to waive the 21 days, so we will go ahead and we'll set this over for another probable cause conference after 30 days to run with Ms. Bartholomew. Anything else for the record, counsel?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Mihas?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We are adjourned on that one. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience and the media, I'm going to ask that you remain in the courtroom for a short period of time until we can get logistics moved around.
yeah, Miss America, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Ugh. Scalpels at the bedside table, like, gross. All right, there's that. I didn't see the first hearing. I'm actually going to look for that. I'm going to let you guys listen to Nasty Nancy for a minute. Joseph Scott Smith had a few interesting things to say last night. Let me find his segment. Here it is. All right, here we go. And then we're going to watch that hearing because I want to see it because I haven't seen it yet.
That indwells that space, it'll drive you to utter madness. But the key here is going to be the science, Nancy. I think you have to be reliant upon that to understand what happened to her. First off, I want to understand what are the kinds of injuries might she have had on her body, other than, say, for instance, this horrible incision that she's going to have over her lower abdomen. I want to know if she was in any way. I want to know if she was compelled in any way to wind up in this.
Okay, so, you know, the one thing that we never want to really talk about, but was she essayed in any way? Was it as quick as Bradley and Courtney said? I don't know if I believe that. You know what I mean? I just don't know if I believe that.
Location. Was she beaten? Was she cut? Was she stabbed? Was she shot? Was she bludgeoned in any way? I want to try to understand that. And therein is going to rest some of the answers. Nancy, even in the state that she's in, and if memory serves me correctly, we're talking potentially several weeks down the road since she was last seen alive. Did you know, even as badly as she may have been decomposed, we will still be able to figure out these wound tracks relative to the hemorrhage that indwells these sites. Because if there is hemorrhage, that's going to give us an indication that she sustained antemortem injuries. And plus, in the throes of having the baby removed, that's called a perimortem injury, there will still be hemorrhage there, and that will tell the tale.
I mean, Joe Scott Morgan, to remove a baby in this manner, of course, when a proper cesarean is done in the hospital, the cut is, I don't know, 4 inches maybe. It's horizontal, way, way, way low down on your stomach. I imagine amateurs would do a vertical cut from, say, the down to the. just open. So and I'm guessing, I'm hypothesizing that is the way they did it. If they did make the vertical cut I'm describing,
Yep.
wouldn't that sever an artery? I mean, how long would she have been able to live?
There's multiple vessels that would be severed, and not to mention, if you go with this idea that it could have been a vertical incision, now you're talking about getting into the bowel. Okay, just think about that, because with cesarean, one of the reasons it's done more in a southerly direction anatomically is you avoid that. All right, and trust me, our medical professionals have been doing this for years and years and years and years. They understand the nature of the anatomy involved here. That's not something that would be done in a clinical environment. So if you're at a very rudimentary level, a barbaric level, that's what you're going to be looking at. You're going to talk about erupting a multitude of vessels in there. You're going to be talking about damaging the bowel, which also has its own blood supply. So yeah, she would bleed out in this environment. That's really no surprise here. And I think that when all is revealed, you're going to begin to understand the horror that she endured during this event. And there's really not going to be any words to try to describe it, I think. If and when this thing makes it to trial, if it makes it to trial, you're going to see something presented to a jury or to a judge that is going to shock them to their core.
Listen.
We just had them take us to whatever the video that they wanted to show us. And the son or the young boy or the 20-year-old did not want the dad to go up, and asked if I could go up and see if it was a mask or if it was really somebody. And it was Rebecca.
November 25th. On a trail directly behind the home of biomom Bartholomew, a volunteer finds the body of Rebecca. Investigators not releasing the condition of the body or if a newborn has been found. Rebecca was expected to give birth days before her body was located.
That from Up North Live. Let's start at the beginning. Tonight, the search is on for Rebecca's baby boy, Richie. We now know of her stomach. How did this whole thing start? Who is Rebecca? Listen.
Child Protective Services called to save Rebecca from her biological mother, Courtney Bartholomew, placed with foster mother Stephanie Park. When parental rights are terminated, Stephanie adopts Rebecca. Rebecca flourishes in the Park home and enjoys grandparents and extended family. Stephanie Park knows Rebecca's mother is dangerous and tries to protect Rebecca from reconnecting with her. Like many adopted children, Rebecca is curious about her biological mother, and the two reconnect.
So to renowned psychologist, forensic psychologist, Dr. Sherry Swartz, Dr. Sherry, Rebecca came from an abusive home. But very early on, CPS did the right thing and removed her, put her in a foster home, and
So that's what I'm wondering. Why was her life so bad? Was her foster home abusive? That's why I'm not understanding why everybody's saying that Rebecca had a horrible life. She was taken when she was a baby. So why was her life horrible with the adopted mother? Or was it? Because that's the feeling I'm getting from the chat and the people that have followed this, is that her life was horrible. It sounds like she was taken at a young age and placed into a foster mom with a foster parents, and she was adopted. And then got back in touch with her bio mother at 17. Is that right? Let me know if I'm understanding that correctly.
the foster mom adopted her and kept her, gave her a forever home. Even though she was extremely happy growing up, she became curious about who's my bio mom. What is that? I don't know that I understand it, Dr. Sherry Swartz, because Rebecca had everything. She had a loving family, grandparents, cousins, all the love a baby could have, but she had a curiosity about her bio mom.
What came first, Aries? What came first, the bio mom or the meth? That's what I want to know. Did she get into drugs first? Or, you know what I mean? Yeah, her sister, both her and her sister.
Who couldn't give a fig about her, abused her, and then gave her up. But yet she was curious to find that bio mom.
We all want to know where we came from, Nancy. This is one of the fundamental biological drives to know our roots, our ancestry. And in a case where a child is given up pretty much at any age, or the parent abandons them, disappears, that drive is a bit stronger.
How cute she is.
The kids want to know, who is this person and why did they give me up? It's natural to think Rebecca maybe thought it had something to do with her. So you want to talk to that person if they're around and find out why.
Randolph Rice is joining us, former prosecutor, current criminal defense attorney, and civil lawyer who founded Rice Law. I know that your firm has been involved with adoptions. It seems to happen all the time.
I understand what you're saying, Pines. I do. I think that there's a lot of different traumas going on here. I guess I was thinking that she was with this Courtney longer and that she was like SA'd her whole life. I was thinking of that kind of trauma, and I'm definitely not trying to downplay the adoptive aspect because I think that definitely is there. But I'm just wondering, did the mom get her into drugs? Was there a drug issue with Rebecca? I'm just wondering. Jerry says the adoptive mom said she had a good life with two parents and siblings and tried to keep her and her two siblings from the bio parents. She was 1 year old when she was a foster. So malnourished, she wore 3 to 6 month clothes and didn't like to be touched. Oh my God. That is heartbreaking. That is absolutely heartbreaking. That is horrible. Ugh. Okay, I got that hearing pulled up. You guys ready? Now this is from 13 days ago. The fiance and sister of missing woman Rebecca Park, Richard Fowler and Kimberly Park, were both in custody at the Wexford County Jail. Now, where was Courtney here? This isn't Courtney's. This is Kimberly and Richard's. Yeah, I thought it was further trauma, like her whole life, like she was around people like Richard Fowler. So it's just weird. Like she had this upbringing, but then she gets involved with her adopted mom, and then she's with this guy that's 20 years older. And oh, this was before she got arrested. Okay. So there must be a separate hearing for her then. Let me see. And Stephanie Park has not done any interviews as far as I can find. I was looking. Let me look for Courtney's first appearance. Would it be 6 days ago that she was charged then? Okay, I think I found it. Here we go. Thank you, Jeep Babe.
Was somebody from the defender's office either yesterday or today?
Yes.
I have a complaint that alleges that on or about November 3rd, 2025, in Antioch Township and or Boone Township of Wexford County, it is alleged in count number 1 that you committed the offense of homicide, murder in the first degree, premeditated. That is a felony punishable by up to life in prison without parole and DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count number 2, it's alleged that you committed the offense of homicide, felony murder. That is a felony punishable by up to life without parole and DNA to be taken upon arrest. Both of those charges involve Rebecca Park. In count number 3, it is alleged that you committed the offense of torture. That is a felony punishable by up to life or any term of years. The consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506 if the assault happened in a place of confinement. In count number 4, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit torture. That is a felony punishable by up to life and or any term of years and a $10,000 fine. The consecutive sentence may be imposed when it happened in a place of confinement. In count number 5, it's alleged that you committed the offense of assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriages, stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years.
Did you hear people in the court? You could hear them verbally upset.
In count number 6, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years and or $10,000. In count number 7, it is alleged that you committed the offense of unlawful imprisonment. That is a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison and or a fine of $20,000. In count number 8, it is alleged that you committed the offense of dead bodies removing without medical examiner permission. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year and or $500. Additionally, the prosecution has elected to charge you as a habitual fourth offender, which means that you have at least 3 prior either attempted or completed felonies in your past. That makes those felonies punishable by more than 5 years up to life offenses. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties?
Yes.
On felony complaints, you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or write can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney present during any questioning that you consent to, and you have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney, and if you cannot afford one would be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or
I think that's how they found out
the
the baby wasn't alive. Oh my God.
Request an appointed attorney.
The court will make a referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney, will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and will set the matter for a preliminary examination. That's a hearing that's held here in the district court within 21 days. At that hearing, the prosecution will be required to prove 2 things. 1, probable cause that these crimes had occurred, and 2, probable cause that you were the person who committed the offense. If the prosecution is not able to do that, the case would be dismissed, but if they are able to do that, you'll be ordered to stand trial in circuit court. Prior to the preliminary examination, there will be a probable cause conference, which is where your attorney and the prosecutor will get together to see if there's a way to resolve the case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Mr. Bartholomew, you met with somebody from the Community Corrections Department and gave them a mailing address, email, and a telephone number. Is that information all accurate?
Yes.
You also have the right to have a bond set. Your bond is based upon the probability of you appearing in future court appointments, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Historically, counsel showed in 01 there was a forgery, 02 in receiving and concealing, 200 to 1,000, 05 malicious destruction of property, 200 to 1,000, 06 driving the license suspended second, 06 driving the license suspended, 08 driving the license suspended, and 10 driving the license suspended second, 10 driving the license suspended, 11 an attempted CSC 3, 11 larceny 1,000 to 20,000. Also in 11 there was an attempted larceny in the building, a joyride, driving the license suspended, and another driving the license suspended. In 14 there was a fail to comply with SORA requirements. 17 failed to comply with SORA requirements as a second. In 21 operating without a license. 24 failed to comply with SORA. In 97
just throw away the key, save us all money.
Concealing $100 or less, not shown in the CCH without a local record. There is an NSF check over $100 from, I believe that's 2000. The driving the license suspended from 2000. 05, there was driving the license suspended. 06, driving the license suspended. 11, driving the license suspended. And 21 failed to display the license. I have reviewed the praxis. The praxis scores him at a risk level 4. Any comment regarding bond, Mr. Hartel?
Yes, Your Honor. We, of course, respect these are extremely serious allegations. Without disputing the fact that this defendant does have a prior criminal history, obviously, even though some of those prior criminal histories are also very serious, I would ask the court to note none of those were for these type of allegations. I have represented this defendant in the past, and what I would say is, to my recollection, he's always stayed in contact with the defender's office.
He's defended him in the past.
To court when we asked him to be to court, if I recall correctly. I don't believe there ever been any flight risk concerns. He does have strong ties to the community. The address that I have, and I won't say it on the record, but it is the one that he's given us before, and I don't doubt he continues to have strong ties to the community. I know he's extremely low income, so I would ask the court to factor that in when setting a bond. I do realize there will almost certainly be a monetary bond, but I ask the court to factor that in. I also ask the court to consider non-monetary bond conditions for public safety when deciding if it can be on the lower end of that. I don't doubt he would comply, as he's always complied with all bond conditions. Perhaps no contact with alleged co-conspirators, GPS tether, house arrest, things of that nature. But again, I just ask the court to factor in everything that's been said so far today. Thank you.
Ms. Carey.
Thank you. The people are going to ask the court to deny bond in this matter. Under MCR 6.106B1, the court may deny pretrial release to a defendant charged with murder. He is charged with first-degree premeditated murder and felony murder, along with several other heinous crimes. In this case, we have two individuals that created a plan. They conducted research. They brought Rebecca Park to their home. They forced her into a vehicle and took her into the woods, where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out of her, ultimately causing her death and the death of the baby. This is as heinous and as awful a case as it could be. And I don't believe there are any circumstances in which Mr. Bartholomew should be granted any bond. Thank you.
The court does find, based on the probable cause affidavits that I have read, the search warrants that I have read, what's been presented to the court today, that Mr. Bartholomew does present as both a threat and a flight risk to the community. As such, he will be held without bond. Thank you, Ms. Saki.
No problem.
You think that's Biomom in the green on the far right? Oh my God, she can't even keep her head up. She's distraught. I didn't know these two were together that long. So she was fucking around with Rich while she was married to this guy and had another child? Oh. It's so sad because adopted mom was about to become a grandma. I bet she was excited. Okay, now they're getting ready for Courtney to come in.
There's a reserve seat over there.
Can we sit down more?
I don't think that's the adopted mom right there. That does not look like her in that one interview I saw. In the green here? Courtney is the mother of Bentley. That's what I want to know, Pines. Rebecca has other children? With who? Rich? With that other guy?
It's prohibited.
Oh,
In a
no.
courtroom, no one may use portable electronic device to take photographs or audio or video. This is the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Bradley Allen Bartholomew, case number. This is the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Courtney Marie Bartholomew, case number 254994FY. We're here for an arraignment. Ms. Bartholomew, did you have the opportunity to meet with somebody from the defender's office either yesterday or today?
I did.
There he is.
I have a complaint that alleges that on or about November 3rd, 2000, felony murder upon Rebecca Park. That is a felony punishable by up to life without parole and DNA to be taken upon arrest. And count number 3 is alleged that you committed the offense of torture. That is a felony punishable by up to life or any term of years. And consecutive sentencing may be imposed if it happened in place of confinement. In count number 4, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit torture with Bradley Bartholomew. That is a felony punishable by up to life and or any term of years and or $10,000. And again, consecutive sentencing may be imposed if it happened in place of confinement. In count number 5, it is alleged that you committed the offense of assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life and or any term of years. In count number 6, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit assault,
unfazed,
intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. In count number 7, it is alleged that you committed the offense of unlawful imprisonment. That is a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison and or a fine of $20,000. In count number 8, it is alleged that you committed the offense of dead bodies removing them without medical examiner permission. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and or a fine of $500. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties?
Yes, sir.
On felony complaints, you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or write can and will be used against you. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney during any questioning that you consent to and the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney, and if you could not afford one to be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or request the appointment of an attorney?
Request.
The court will make a referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney. You will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf and will set the matter for a preliminary examination. That's a hearing that's held here in the district court within 21 days. At that hearing, the prosecution will be required to prove 2 things. 1, probable cause that these crimes had occurred, and 2, probable cause that you were the person who committed the offenses. If the prosecution is not able to do that, the case will be dismissed. But if they are able to do that, you'll be ordered to stand trial in circuit court. Prior to the preliminary examination, there will be a probable cause conference. That's where your attorney and the prosecutor will get together to see if there was a way to resolve the case short of going to trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You also have the right to have a bond set. Your bond is based upon the probability of you appearing in future court appointments, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Counsel tracks the scores here at a risk level 2. The defendant's passed, as showed, 15, the driving license suspended second, 18, driving license suspended, 19, allowing another person to operate in violation of the vehicle.
Have any of Rebecca's
20,
friends spoke out, you guys?
1 to 4 year investigation, actually 2 convictions for that. In 05, a driving license suspended, that was set aside. In 05, a financial transaction device fraud withdrawal 200 to 1,000, that was set aside. In 14, there was a driving license suspended, set aside. In 18, false or forged ID set aside. On a local record not showing the CCH, there was an 03 stray dog and a licensed dog, 04 unlawful plate, 05 attempt failed to record an accident, 15 driver license expired, 17 allowing unlicensed driver to operate, 19 allowing unlicensed driver to operate, and in 23 false report of a misdemeanor. Any comment regarding bond, Mr. Martel?
Yes, sir. We do realize these are very serious allegations. What she does, as the court did note, have a prior criminal history, nothing anywhere relatable to this, I would ask the court to factor that in when setting bond. I have had contact with her in the past. I did represent family members of hers. I won't go into too much detail about that. But what I will say is, without giving the address on record, I am familiar that she does have strong ties to that
They
area.
have one hell
She
of
does
a criminal
have
record.
friends and family and support structure in the area. She also has a variety of disabilities that I won't go into too much detail just for respect of her. But she does have upcoming medical appointments, MRIs, CAT scans, things of that nature, just so the court is aware. I don't believe she's a flight risk, not only due to the fact of her ties to the community, but also due to her need to do those medical appointments. I do believe that she would obey any non-monetary bond conditions the court placed on her if the court had concern for public safety, which we don't doubt would be appropriate in the scenario. No contact with alleged co-conspirators, house arrest, things of that nature. I do realize the court's not required to set a monetary bond, but I would ask the court to consider it, including factoring in her disability, her low income, and the fact that her prior criminal history doesn't have these type of allegations in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, the people are going to request the court deny bond in this case pursuant to MCR 6.106B1, which allows the court to deny pretrial release to a defendant charged with murder. She is charged with murder. She's also charged with felony murder and 6 other counts, as the court read. I hate to repeat it, but to create a record in this case as well, I think no bond or being held without bond is appropriate. Again, this is a case of premeditated torture and murder. These two individuals created a plan, conducted research. Ms. Bartholomew brought Rebecca to their home. They forced her into another vehicle and took her into the woods, where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out, and ultimately caused her death and the death of the baby. They then left Rebecca in the woods. This is, frankly, evil personified, and I would ask the court to hold her without bond.
The court does find based
Wish
on
they'd
what's
zoom in on the
been presented
screen.
Today, the probable cause affidavit I've read, and various search warrants I've read, the defendant is both a flight risk and a threat to the community, therefore she will be held without bond. I am going to order.
Your Honor, I have a
No.
What? Whoa.
I'm also going to order that the defendant.
What just happened? Was that her mom? Was that Courtney? What did she say?
Therefore, she will be held without bond. I am going to order.
Your Honor, I have a
No.
That was her. She's like, Your Honor, I have something. She's cutting in on the judge. He ain't putting up with that shit. She's talking about a doctor appointment? Oh, hell no.
I am going to order.
Your Honor, I have a
No. I'm also going to order that the defendant not have any contact with Bradley Bartholomew, and I'm going to sua sponte go back and add that requirement to his bond conditions as well. Counsel, anything for the record?
No, you for ass.
All right, thank you, Wexford.
Look at her waving her hand around. You see her? Look at her over there waving her hand around, trying to get their attention. Watch. Watch her.
All right, thank you, Wexford. I will hold off on calling the next cases to allow.
What a piece of work. They must have muted her. Look at her. Rot away, honey. Your jealousy will get the worst of you, I guess. Here's a couple clips I found of her friends. Let's watch these.
And left. I haven't heard from her since.
Deputies say they believe Park received about $2,000 cash from family inheritance the day she vanished. Money that can make it easier for her to avoid electronic tracking. Her friends, though, say she wasn't planning to leave.
Not as
like far as I know on like housing, but I do know that her and Richie were talking about getting married and they were trying to figure out how to get that goal achieved along with buying their own house.
Friends who have known Rebecca for years are now searching on their own, focusing on back roads and wooded areas near where she was last seen Monday.
She helped me, and it ended up sending her into labor and going to Cadillac Hospital. We called to inform everybody, and her last phone call was her mom, Courtney, and she said, don't let her get into a vehicle. I'm on my way. She got into a van with Kimmy and Courtney and left. I haven't heard from her since.
Now, who is this? This girl I feel bad for because it sounds like Rebecca helped her with something and it made her like have contractions, and she went to the hospital because she thought she was in labor, and that was when she found out that she was only dilated at a 1. This is her best friend Paige. Poor Paige. That's really sad. So if her and Rich were talking about getting married, could that have really set Courtney off into psychosis of jealousy? You know what I mean? I wonder.
Deputies say Rebecca is not in any legal trouble. They just need to confirm she and her baby are safe.
And left.
Yeah, she says she left with Courtney and Kimmy. Let's see. I think we already watched that one. Yeah, that they were talking about getting married and buying their own house. So who were they living with? Who was Courtney and Rich living with if they didn't have their own house? Yeah, Biomom, evil. Evil. Here's an interview with Kimberly. This was posted 22 hours ago from Steph's case files. Let's take a look.
So, it's very important, since Courtney's not going to come on this panel, I need everybody.
Oh, this must be
And
old. Okay, because Courtney's in jail. Oh, this is from 11/22. Who's this guy?
Law enforcement or my team, which is not affiliated with any form of law enforcement.
I'm supposed to have contact.
Well, me and my daughter were there back in January.
Can you let me know then why I have pictures from October 27th of those couches being in the house?
Who is this guy? Courtney comes on. Let's see. Oh, I hate TikTok. I don't see Courtney on here.
I'm going to be honest, the way I arrive, I don't think it is best that I go physically to her house to get her. Is there anybody at all that could meet up with her and bring her to my location or meet up any?
Who is this guy that wants to meet up with them? They lived with Rich's father. Oh. Yeah, I don't do TikTok. That shit creeps me out. Like it. That guy doesn't even look real. I don't know who this guy calls himself a bounty hunter. I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't like that. That shit creeps me out. Sorry. You guys can watch that on your own time, though. Bounty hunter. Kind of like Dog the Bounty Hunter. Here, if you guys want to watch that interview, it's here. I just can't. There's too much confusion already in this for me that I need like straight facts. Here's Vinny. Vinny covered this 2 hours ago. Let's see what this says. I'm having a hard time keeping the dang facts straight, let alone following.
begging for protection.
Now, why would they show this picture with this kid picking his nose? I know this is a different case, but what's up with that? Watch this girl and her stickers. I don't know what that means. What's stickers? They caused a lot of problems in the investigation. That, thank you, Ishi. That girl, Steph's case files or whatever, she was in that Paramount hashtag cyber sleuth. Yeah, we don't do boxes and 2 a.m.s. Wow, Jeep babe. Well, those people were kind of shamed in the Paramount thing, so. Paige said she left with Kim and Courtney. This is interesting. Then Kimmy was part of it, maybe. I think if you go back and listen to the affidavits, I think Kimmy might have been tricked. Yeah, I just don't like how TikTok does their true crime. It's weird. Okay, let's see what Vinny's got to say. He's talking to a local.
Reporter for 9 and 10 News in Cadillac, Michigan. Jody Measen's back with us. Jody, great to have you back. Thank you so much. I want to get to some parts of the rest of the story, but I think one thing to me that's not super clear, and I think the folks watching would want a little clarity, if there is clarity, because it's a confusing situation. The nature of these relationships in Rebecca's life, her biological mom, the stepfather, her fiance, and her sister, who has also been arrested and charged in relation to some of the activities here. What can you tell us about the relationships here of those folks and Rebecca?
You know, when you're pouring through the court documents, what's really interesting is that this is just a really messy case. There seems to be, Kimberly Park also mentioned having a sexual relationship with Richard Failer. Courtney also mentioned in those court documents that she had a sexual relationship with Richard at some point. And she actually said that that was part of the motive. She's accusing that Bradley is the one that actually murdered Rebecca. And the only thing that she did was try to save the baby. So she was trying to play it off as,
okay, so here's a good
this
visual.
was kind of a revenge.
Here's a visual, Ishi, if you want to screenshot this. Kimberly Park is the sister on the far left. She was adopted to Stephanie Parks along with Rebecca when they were little. They were taken from Courtney Bartholomew, who is next to Kimberly. Courtney is married to Bradley Bartholomew and has other children with him. And then last but not least, we have Richard Fowler, who is a convicted sex offender. I think both of those men are convicted sex offenders, if I'm not mistaken. And Richard is the father of baby Richie and the fiance of Rebecca, who also was dabbling with Kimberly and Courtney. That's who they are. And Bradley looks like a mean motherfucker. That guy has dead eyes. Richard just looks like a tweaker. But that Bradley, he looks dangerous and he looks mean as hell. So do I have it down? Okay. Yay, it finally clicked for Pines. I should have played this while you figured it out, Pines. This is what we were all doing while you figured it out. Okay, I think we're all on the same page now. I never thought I would be able to use that soundbite as much as I have. But I think we're all on the same page.
Plot. And that Bradley was also upset about Richard turning him in for a crime that he ended up doing some jail time for. But it's hard to wrap your mind around the fact that there's all these relationships going on that you wouldn't think that a biological mom or a sister would do to a family member.
Messy, I think, is the best way to describe it, Jody. When you say messy, I think that's the best way to describe it. So who's the father of the baby?
Supposedly Richard. That's what we were told. I don't think Becca, as far as I know, she wasn't having other relationships. It seems like Richard was the one having relationships with other people, and Courtney as well. She was married. Now, she was at some point was going to get a divorce from Bradley, but she stopped those proceedings right before those were supposed to happen. So, yeah, the court documents, I got to tell you, they were worse than what we actually imagined. Now, Courtney, at one point, she did mention that they actually didn't take the baby until after Rebecca was dead, but then later on, she admitted that Rebecca was alive. So it's really hard to wrap your mind around everything that's going on.
Okay, so we're not the only ones confused. The local reporters are still sorting through this mess as well.
A lot of conflicting statements. If you look through the documents themselves, the story seems to change from time to time. So I know that they had their probable cause conference hearings today, but those were actually delayed for Bradley and Courtney to give the prosecutor more time to go through the evidence because there is so much of it and there's so many conflicting statements.
Conflicting statements, confusing relationships. How about Rebecca and her sister? Did they have any relationship growing up? Do we know? Did they meet only as adults or they knew each other growing up?
They are, Kimberly herself had told me at one point that there's like 3 days out of the year that they're the same age. So they're really close in age. They were adopted together. Now, Becca was 1 year old at the time, and they had an older brother that was adopted along with Kimberly, Becca. So they grew up together. And according to the parents that adopted them, the mom says that they were really close.
And what is the adoptive family saying about all of this? What is their take on this? Because, you raise this child, she ends up in adulthood, and then this tragic reunion takes place and turns into a murder. What are they saying?
This was something I think they were trying to prevent. They said that they were dangerous people. They've been harassed by them over the years, and they were just trying to protect their children. And when she turned 18, she sought them out on their own. But when all this happened, the mom, I don't think she was surprised. You would think that someone would be surprised by something so horrific, but it sounds like the mom has her reasons for thinking that these were dangerous people that her daughter should never have been involved with. And that's why she kept them away from them for all those years.
And do we know how long Rebecca was reunited with her mom before she ends up getting killed?
Well, she was 22 when this all happened. And the mom says that when she turned 18 is when she sought them out. And they had a rocky relationship, though. I mean, even Courtney has said that. And other people have said that as well, that they had a rocky relationship.
Okay, so I don't think she has a good relationship with anyone. But so we only have 4 years that she's been in her life. So that answered that question. They met when she was 18. She's 22. So I wonder what her life was like before she met her mom. I mean, I get it's a small area. That would be really hard. That would be really hard to have this adoptive mother so close and so vile and so toxic. And we only know the gist of it. You're right.
And what do we look forward to next in this case and as it proceeds forward? What's the next big event that's going to take place?
So Kimberly, the half-sister, she has not been charged with any crimes related to the murder of Becca. She has been charged with lying to police. She gave them a couple of different stories. She even put the blame on Richard, saying that Richard and another man had killed Becca and taken the body. But at some point, she had also said that it was Courtney and Bradley that killed Becca, and then there was another guy that took the body away. So her story changed.
So it sounds like Kimberly knows a lot more than she's saying. I wonder if Kimberly might be someone who gets the deal, considering that her bond was reduced to $5,000. Kimberly and her TikTok appearances are weird as fuck. Yeah, we should probably do another live and go over her TikToks, her interview. I don't know if I can do it though. God, I hate TikTok. I hate TikTok lives. I just hate the whole thing. Yeah, so she's probably the one getting the deal.
Quite a bit. And like I said, she did have a relationship with Richard. Not really sure why she was telling all these tales. According to the court documents, she knew what had happened to Becca when she was telling these tales.
She definitely
Jody
knew.
Meason, 9 and 10 news anchor, Cadillac, Michigan.
Okay, so she definitely knew. That lady just said it. Kimberly definitely knew what happened to Rebecca when, and it sounds like they're calling her Becca. But they're saying she definitely knew. I just hate the boxes and all this stuff. I just don't like TikTok. Kimberly in bed with Richard as we type. Ew. So they both got out. They're all turning on each other one by one, throwing each other under the bus. But yeah, if you think about it, they both bonded out. So they're together. Where does Kimberly live? With Richard and his parents? I mean, I hope that if she's their witness, she's got some kind of protection. He might be a witness too. I mean, obviously he's going to be a witness, but I don't know how much info he has. It doesn't sound like he really knew. They left jail together? Holy cow. No, Passion Flower. They have not located the baby. Kimberly said she was gone before they found her body. Okay. Thank you, Auburn. She lives with her boyfriend. You have pictures of them walking out of jail together. Ugh. And then she also has a boyfriend. In addition, they're not allowed to talk. But they left together. That's interesting. Let's see what else Vinny's got to say here.
Michigan, always appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And we'll speak again.
Where'd they get the money to bond out is the question. That's kind of sus.
Yep, her probable cause conference got delayed till December, next Tuesday, the 16th. And then just for the Bartholomew's, they will have their probable cause hearing in January. Those were delayed to give the prosecutor, like I said earlier, more time to go through all the evidence.
Okay, so those two shitbags won't be back in court until after Christmas. But we have Kimberly in court next Tuesday.
All right. Thanks so much, Jody.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining me tonight, criminal defense attorney, former head prosecutor, county prosecutor Bob Bianchi in New Jersey.
I'm good on the think tank. Weird unless it's drug money. And don't you think they would track that money? I feel like Biomom would not trust Kim to know the full details. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But I think we've covered everything up to date thus far. If you are just joining or joining late, we went through the probable cause affidavits. They were horrible. I mean, maybe the parents, maybe Rich's parents. I don't know. Maybe her boyfriend's. I don't know. I'm going to look more into this. See if we, maybe I can clip the TikTok things to make them more viewable. I don't know. Do these creeps have children, hoping they are not with them? That I don't know. Does Kimberly have children? Me too, Jeep babe. Me too. I hope that my Michiganders will find me and cover this with me. Thank you for filling in all of the gaps that we weren't aware of, and I appreciate that a lot. One thing's for sure, it's a big mess for sure. You have to go do Santa Claus stuff. That sounds fun. Yeah, that's what I'll do, Ishi. And thank you for offering to make the chart. That will help us because it is confusing. You guys all have a great day as well. Thank you, Sarah Sarah. Yeah, it was a lot. I hope that if you're on the replay, it makes sense. I will chapter this for viewing pleasures later. But thanks a lot for joining me today. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. Auburn, you're from Michigan. Yeah, awesome. I'm from Michigan originally. I'm in Florida now, but I was born and raised in Romeo, Michigan. I saw somebody was from Oakland County. We got lots of Michiganders. I've covered a lot of Michigan cases. So hopefully I will see you guys again. Definitely next Tuesday. There's Evelyn. She's another Michigander, Oakland County. You're up by Traverse. Beautiful up there. Love it. Cherry Festival. Shout out to the Cherry Fest. But yeah, definitely next Tuesday. Thank you, Belinda Buckner. But next Tuesday, we will, if it is streamed, we will convene for that and watch it together. A daughter. Okay. Adoptive mom is very busy. Poor thing. All right, guys. Well, enjoy the rest of your hump day, and I will see you guys later. Everybody take care. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream or video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my latest content. Want to take it a step further?
Bring it all in.
And join our community clickers by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You'll get exclusive access to our Discord server, special channel perks, and much more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Click. It's real easy, man.